Woo! All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Slim Society Show. It's your personal and professional nutritionist, once again, and as always, Connor Rhodes from Slim Society, and it is lovely to be coming at you live once again. We are in video format on YouTube, where currently we get absolutely no views, but we are also coming at you in audio format, on which most people who are hearing us say this will be listening, as we get listeners on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Casts, and some other random places that you can find podcasts on the internet. And welcome back to, once again, another News of the Week show. News topics of the day, and these, by the way, I'll interrupt myself, are real news articles every single week that we find from across the world and then come at you with our professional opinions and advice, keeping you up to date with the real deal, not just what the media says. The news topics of the week are: diet and exercise mistakes women over 40 often make. It actually doesn't take very long to see muscle gains from strength training. Signs your hormones are making you gain belly fat. This is actually a big news article, and I did actually want to talk about this, and because the next article I've also got is also about hormones. It's a BBC News article which was very, very popular this week. Basically, every single fitness professional that I know has commented something on this article, and it's actually about one of my old clients. It's actually an article in the BBC News where one of my old clients was interviewed about her life, essentially, and it's about genes and genetics to do with obesity, and it's called Living with Obesity: The People Who Are Hardwired to Store Fat. We also have Move of the Week, How to Boost Your Bum, and Biggest Fitness Trends of 2021. And we'll also be coming at you with a debate section, or a What's Better, BEH''R, What's Better section of the week. But first, before we get to any of that, let me introduce, once again on News of the Week, the one, the only, the unique, the powerful, the golden maned head man himself, the lion in the jungle. He puts the out into outback. It's William Bartholomew Hukin.
That was too much of an intro. No man can live up to these things. Oh dear.
Oh, William, sir.
Feral boy in the jungle, I've got that, but the rest, bro, I don't know if I can live up to. Hey, Connor, how are you?
That was a big up, wasn't it?
That was a big up, I'll take it.
That was a big up.
Humbly, I shall take it.
You used to have dreadlocks when we first met.
Oh, we're back there. All right, cool, yeah.
Didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And you were quite feral.
Yeah, you found me on the streets, it's true.
But now I found you in the gym, but you came from the streets.
Crawling.
You came from the woods.
From the sewers, upwards.
Yeah. I know we've spoken about this before, but how old were you when you first came to only do work experience at first? You weren't even allowed to work.
For a bloody year. 16.
16.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now you've grown up into a beautiful boy.
Big boy.
Yeah, and an excellent personal trainer. I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you, Coach.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Sensei.
I mentioned to, when I was in the gym this morning and I saw you, I was training with Daniel Kavanagh, who I've done 2 podcasts with.
Good bloke.
Excellent bloke.
bloke.
And I said to him that you are one of the best personal trainers in the world. And I'm not going to lie, he looked at me with a look like, really? like he was surprised to hear this, but he doesn't obviously ever see you or pay attention to you really personal training anybody. You only come over to me and him just in between clients or after you're done, just make a few jokes.
When I'm a prat, yeah.
Just piss take, it's just us. We make a few jokes about each other, poke some fun.
Yeah.
Don't we? Say a couple of stupid things.
We riff.
Yeah, and then just go. So he's not actually seen, I don't know, the real deal. The getting down to business.
That's such a nice thing to say. Yeah, the getting down to the bee's knees.
It was just his face made me laugh. He was like, really?
Well, can you remember that?
Like he had no idea.
What was that when some bloke once come to you in the gym, you told me this story, and asked you about like hypertrophy training and like generally getting strong and big and whatnot. And whilst you're excellent at that, you do lean towards nutrition. And you said, to be honest, Will's more interested, go talk to Will about this kind of stuff. And you just relented and went, yeah, but Will's just not big, is he? And that was his like reason, that was it.
What, and I am big, so that person must have, what?
At the time, you at least dwarfed me, yeah. I've been through puberty in the last 5 years while you've just had the beard for all of it.
I am at least 7 years older than you.
I ain't doing that math.
Something around that. And
someone else will.
I don't know. So I've probably been, how long have you actually been training? Yourself? 6 or 7 years?
Well, it's blurred
like
lines.
exercising?
I'd say
Not that you weren't always fit and healthy, etc.
7.
7 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've probably been training like 11 years
Yeah,
or something.
but it should be said with various different goals in those 7 years, and that's why it's blurred lines. Whereas I know you sort of started training and then bodybuilder style trained was just, that's it. It had been it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You never really tickled weightlifting or powerlifting or gymnastics or
Olympic weightlifting.
yeah.
No, I tried it a little bit in university.
Oh, that's exciting.
I joined the Olympic weightlifting club in
stuck?
university. Sorry, say again?
Never stuck. You don't like it?
I did it for about 6 months, but I just couldn't really do it. I could do a good snatch, which a description for ladies and gentlemen just listening is, I don't know, the bar's on the floor and you have really wide hands and you kind of pick the bar up off the floor really fast and then go whoop and flip it above your head.
Ta-da!
And then
Land at the bottom of the squat.
end up stood up with it. I could do a good technique snatch, not much weight. Mm-hmm. Not much. I'm not saying heavy, but my technique, I've been practicing it for at least a few months. My technique was okay. The other ones though, not really. I could never do clean and jerk because that's where you pick up the bar off the floor and then instead of it going straight above your head, you flip it and it kind of lands
on your throat. It's really nice.
Yeah, kind of. Across oops, sorry, I've just hit the microphone. Across the top of your chest with your arms like folded underneath it, sort of thing. My wrists just, for whatever reason, don't go that far. And the Olympic weightlifting coach even got a bar and tried to just like hang it on there to like bend my wrists into place. And it was just hurting and giving me like wrist pain in day-to-day life. So
there'll be a flexibility thing, but a lot of it's down to the mechanics of like the ratio between your forearm length and your like humerus length. And which I'd argue if you had, if we were leaning into like, what they're called, somatotypes and whatnot, you have longer limbs compared to your torso and whatnot. You're more kind of that kind of build, that / mesomorph kind of, if we were doing that, which would indicate maybe slightly longer in the arms and whatnot, more like myself and whatnot as well.
Yeah,
which could just mean, yeah,
it's
some
not my
people bend
tricep
well like
flexibility
that.
because I can do the bind like that, if that's what it's called, where you link your arms behind.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, we know you're pretty
so
flexible.
I can fold my arm in.
Yeah,
it just doesn't do that.
But again, I think it might be because of length of your forearm, because it's quite long, you know.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't get on with it. I could do the snatch because that has nothing to do with wrist flexibility, and I could practice that.
It's good fun, that stuff, isn't it?
But I thought it was okay at the time. I was just trying to get stronger in general, and I thought, what do the strong people do? Olympic weightlifting and stuff like that. And I thought I'll develop some power. Why not? I'll give it a try. I was at Sheffield Hallam University. They had a club.
Good place to start.
So I thought, all right, I'll give it a try. But it was just giving me wrist pain. I couldn't really get on with it. Just didn't work for me for whatever reason.
Not what you're after.
You enjoy it though, don't you?
I do. I don't particularly do it anymore. I enjoy coaching it quite a lot. Good fun to coach, yeah. Genuinely. It's just
quite technical.
Yeah, I just get to be a nitpicky little bastard, which you know I love. Well, actually, that was an inch off, so if you could just... It's great fun.
Even an inch is a lot in Olympic weightlifting.
Well, it can't be an inch off, but that's
milliseconds.
The thing. Yeah.
With things.
I enjoy the precision behind it. It's good fun, yeah.
How have you been for the last week?
Quite well, thank you. Business as well. Not much outside of business, but business as well.
Yeah, just working a lot, lots of clients.
Training as well. I managed to hilariously sprain my ankle last week, so it's been I'm going to try and squat after we've done our podcast today. I'm going to go back to the gym and train and see how that goes, if I can learn.
How did you sprain your ankle, dare I ask?
I was at a trampoline park and I just rolled it.
I've sprained my ankle on a trampoline before.
Yeah, it's no bueno for me. On a trampoline for you?
I've at least rolled my ankle 2 or 3 times on trampolines. Yeah. When we were kids, or younger, we used to obviously live with my mum. We had a trampoline in the back garden. I hurt my ankle on that once. And then I've been to those trampoline park things where it's loads of trampolines like joined together and there's trampolines on the walls.
Yeah, that's where I was. And that'll do it.
Yeah, because as I landed, you have to have really strong, quite stable ankles or good technique, and I probably didn't have either at the time. When you land on the trampoline, it kind of goes down at a 45-degree angle, but you land in the middle, and then it can like roll your ankles.
Snaps your shit up. And if you're prone to them snapping, then that's that.
Which I used to be, but it's gotten a lot better now.
Yeah, yours has gone better with running and stuff, hasn't it?
Yeah, running. I believe split squats.
Yeah.
Like that balancing on that front foot with weight, just putting weight specifically over that joint.
Genuinely, I actually agree, because I would say squats for me have done the same, but and that's it. Obviously, a bilateral thing, so unilateral is going to do it even more, I'd argue.
Yeah, walking lunges as well. Yeah. I've done quite a lot of those. A lot of flexibility training I've done as well. And now sometimes, I remember, not that recently, but I was running in the woods and my ankle sort of must have
Tried to go.
placed, and like went sideways for a second, but came back and I did a few more steps and I was like, yeah, no injury.
Confidence is building.
Good ankle. Very good.
Doing as it's told.
Yeah, they didn't used to be strong, but just exercise, probably nutrition and stuff like this as well. I eat healthy. I also supplement calcium and vitamin D. And
Like a nerd.
yeah, like a nutritional nerd. It's
Yeah. Like
actually
something
what I do.
I should be doing.
Probably, maybe.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to. I mean, you don't.
Not
Nobody
good.
has to take
No.
vitamins and supplements. But do you take vitamin D?
I do.
Good. I was going to say because
I'm not. Yeah.
I was going to just
Slap me.
no,
Tell me to leave.
no, just
Call me out.
probably just maybe talk down to you a little bit.
Give me a.
Yeah, look at you disapprovingly.
It's my least
Send you
favorite
text about it later when we're off the podcast.
when I get that from you, that's my it.
Send a link to you on Amazon. Just buy this and get it done. You know.
I haven't upset Sensei.
No. I take all kinds of multivitamins and stuff though. Sometimes I take 2 different multivitamins per day
Popping pills.
just because you can never tell if they're working, so I get 2 different brands and take both of them. Just in case one's a dud for whatever reason.
Just in case
I'm covering my bases.
someone's placeboing you with vitamins.
Yeah, I don't trust companies necessarily. Vitamin D, supplemented, extra calcium, magnesium and zinc, and
Zinc I've got.
1 gram of vitamin C per day in a tablet. I also take that. 2 fish oils equaling around 500 EPA and DHA per day.
I eat fish every day, so that takes
strength
care of
ones.
that.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't really like it that much.
Yeah.
So I do the
I had
supplementation.
salmon and mackerel yesterday, and it was bloody brilliant. I'll tell everyone about it.
It's really healthy for you. It's good protein. It's excellent for the body. It's got those omega-3s, baby.
Had some spring onions with it. Greens go well.
Ooh.
Very nice. Good times. How have you been for the last week?
Really good, thank you. Really good.
Killing it on top of the world.
Feeling good.
Training legs.
Not last week, yes. Only once, I think, though, last week. Not my usual twice. I was on holiday Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, just in Manchester with Beth.
Oh.
It was really nice.
What'd you do?
Archery.
Oh, you told me.
Yeah.
Did you win?
There was no competition. It was mine and Beth's both first time ever. So
No way.
Yeah, it was big.
So fun, right?
I've never done it ever in my life. But I've always liked the idea of it, you know.
Good fun.
I felt prepared because I'd watched Robin Hood the Disney cartoon at least 30 times in my life. So by then,
The only
I've at least got the gist
example
for it.
you need.
Yeah, I've at least got the gist for
Yeah.
it. You know, it's a fox, he's got a bow. What else do you need to know, really?
I'm a human with a bow. I couldn't have cited my examples from other humans, so let's use an animal. It's better.
Honestly, though, I've always loved the idea of archery, even though I've never done it. Like, if it's in films or in games, I always like the archery character, always. I've always really enjoyed, I don't know, everything about it for some reason. I find it, I don't know, I just really, really enjoy it. So I've always felt like it's in my blood. And then when I did it for the first time over the weekend, I was really good.
Oh, man.
Well, really,
confirming our suspicion.
As good, I'm being grandiose, because as good as you can be on your first day ever.
So we're not on some Legolas level yet.
But the instructor was looking at me suspiciously like I'd never done it before, which I hadn't, but I had watched some YouTube instructional videos the day before and practiced in my mind.
Well, this is it.
So I knew what to expect and what we were going for.
You've got athleticism on your side, and which inherently sits as like good proprioception.
I've got excellent rear delts. And the idea is to straighten your front arm.
You're damn right.
And then you do a hook grip,
You're
which
damn
I do
right.
anyway for like
Yeah,
pull-ups and stuff. I've been training my entire life for this. Pull it straight back with that power rear delt.
As the Archie you were born
Not
to
a
be.
single wobble was seen. Breathe out, keep both eyes open.
It's a good looking pose that for you.
Straight in, yeah. Lean from the side because you face sideways as well, so you turn. So you've got that wide base.
You're damn right.
King, Bud, straight in.
That Frank Zane twist
Straight
pose, that's nice for you.
By the end of it, there was 4 targets in a row, kind of thing, because there was only 4 people at this archery. There was another young couple, male and female, and then there was me and Beth.
Yeah.
So we were all in a line, and it went, the other couple, I can't remember exactly in what order. I think the female, then the male, then me as the third person, then Beth, in sort of the line. And at the end, they put some balloons on the targets, and the idea was to try and pop your balloons. The lady and the other couple went first, missed the balloons. The guy,
Imagine.
the guy went second, missed his balloons.
Imagine.
I went, popped my balloon the first time, popped the guy's balloon on his target, popped Beth's, and then put it back in the bullseye on mine with the 4th arrow. I was like, someone should be filming.
So news of the week, Connor's the coolest guy ever.
No, I'm just,
And loves
I don't
himself?
know, I can aim a bow and arrow for some
I can aim a
reason.
bow and arrow, that's it.
No, the
So you're a
target wasn't very
Minecraft
far as well, I will
character.
say this. The target was...
A foot in front of you.
No, but it wasn't. It was, I don't know anything about
No, that's
distances to
impressive,
know how
man.
far
And good
it
fun,
was.
right?
Good, I
Did you have a
enjoyed it.
real, like, shit, simple plastic bow? Or did you give you a nice, like, wooden one or something?
It was definitely wooden. I don't know anything
Oh.
about bows to know what it was. It was definitely a wooden basic recurve bow.
Oh.
Which is like one of those where it bends in like two directions.
They're real pretty and tall.
Yeah, quite long, easy to pull. It was only a 20-pound bow, so the amount of pressure you've got to pull
they're-
is 20 pounds, so what, 9 kg?
So you've been overloading the rear delts nicely. Them face balls have got you there.
Oh yeah, I do.
Oh, yeah.
I do that face pull where I lay on the incline bench and then get 2 dumbbells and pull it wide, which is exactly the action. I've been training for this for all my life.
And bilaterally as well, like not even with any of the discrepancies that might throw you off. Have you seen, I saw not long ago, this is a kind of a segue, to nothing. the archers back in the day, like when they needed to be archers, that did it from like when they were 4 or something, had genuine discrepancies whereby one
yeah.
arm was like this much shorter than
You get discrepancies from playing tennis.
other.
Like who's that?
Yeah.
Who's that tennis guy that's got one massive
Yeah,
forearm?
true.
Yeah, and that's tennis. You just like you're swinging at air basically and hitting a ball. So some like
You're screaming real loud.
some war bows.
That must do
You
something.
know, like a bow and arrow for war, an
Yeah,
ancient one.
yeah.
They're like 100 pounds to pull.
Yeah,
so
that's
that's
gonna
like
do
what,
some weird shit to you.
45 kg,
If you're doing it since you're 4 years old.
44 kg, 45,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got to straight arm and then 45 kg and then poof, let it go. So yeah, they would have big right arms, I guess. Or,
That'd be their posing arm for their
or left arm
paintings.
if you're left-handed.
Have you ever done a standing barbell face pull?
Yes.
Like hinged, obviously.
Yeah. So you're bent over. at the
Hinged, but
hips
kind
and
of
then you-
rounded. Yeah. Like you don't need to be. You want to be braced at the hips, but you don't need a particularly straight spine. It's
Yeah.
actually quite nice not to, because then your traps don't get as involved.
Yeah, I've done that exercise for a long time, you know, because I copied it off Kai Green when I was first like flipping 15 years old. You know, the bodybuilder.
Cute, yeah.
One of the biggest bodybuilders in the world. I used
One
to
of the
watch his
coolest
training
bodybuilders in
videos
the
when I was
world.
really young.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of different exercises to hit everything from every angle.
Yeah, he loves
and
a
I saw
good
him
Jefferson squat.
leaning forward, and then you get the barbell, and then lift it out in front, and then face pull. I like it with dumbbells as well.
It does feel like a nice detailing exercise, doesn't it?
I use it for clients quite a lot with their home training, you know, because I have a couple of Zoom clients where I train them at home.
Yeah, it is.
And there's not many options to do for face pulls or back exercises like
True.
at home. It's really nice if most of my online clients have got a home suspension trainer, like a TRX that
Nice,
hooks
that
through a
works
door.
perfectly, doesn't it?
Yeah, then you can do a face pull on that, and I also get them to put bands and tie it onto it, and then they can do rear delt fly with the band and face pull with the band. But another one I give them, if people have only got dumbbells or a bar, then I give them that exercise because we want to do some postural correction.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
we?
nice.
So we need to work those
How
upper
much of a
back
godsend
muscles.
is it if you train someone at home and they've got a TRX that like solves so many problems?
I will give my Zoom clients a free personal training session so that rather than pay me, they can spend the money on the TRX. Literally. If people say they want to train with me but they can't afford the extra money for it, I'll give them the personal training sessions they were going to pay for free so that they get it, because the amount of results that they'll get and how much they'll enjoy the training just far outweighs just having a couple of dumbbells at home. You'll get bored of it in like 2 weeks. TRX, it's hard forever.
True.
I've been doing it for 10
You
years.
can make that
and
shit
there's-
hard, yeah.
There's loads of exercises I can't do.
True.
Loads still.
Very true, yeah.
Loads.
And there's plenty that you can just incrementally make harder and harder and harder,
Yep.
and then still just do it to like 20 reps, and you'll probably then just start struggling to get more than that.
On a face pull, on a TRX, if I make the ropes long and then walk my feet all the way
no
down
chance.
to the ankle point,
5 rep max.
So my back or head is about that far off the floor, so I'm pretty much laying horizontal, and then face pull, I can
of
do
all,
3.
Heroic effort if you can't even do one of them.
I can do about 3, so I can use that exercise
It's
for
a
another
bodyweight
5
row
or
with
10
three
years.
adults. That's crazy.
Yeah, I can do that exercise for another 5 or 10 years and keep my posture good for forever.
And still be small.
With that-
I mean, and build
Still
loads
have
of
made
muscle.
no gains. Still have made no gains.
I'm right with you on that one though. The no gains train, that is.
I was
Choo-choo.
I was winding Daniel Kavanagh up this morning because he's really against steroids for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's because he likes sports. I think he's big
What, you mean the most steroid influenced things ever?
That's true, but
Daniel.
He wants it all to be. He wants it all to be proper. So I was joking to him this morning. I was going for about 5 minutes on a fake speech about how I'm thinking about taking some steroids. I think it might be a great idea for me. And he's like, "What? You'll never do that. That's against your character." And I'm like, "No, I'm thinking about it, bro. I'm thinking about it. We come to the gym all the time. I'm bored of making getting slow. You know, just thinking about pumping up."
You can't get big,
And he's
man.
like, "What? This is ridiculous. Don't say this."
This is what you're saying, really. So we need to start sprinkling some little creatine on his cereal in the morning.
I was just winding him up about it. There.
Good fun.
I was just winding him up. He's a type 1 diabetic.
Really?
Yeah, he has to inject insulin after every meal and stuff like that for the rest of his life. His pancreas doesn't work.
Mint.
And insulin's technically the most anabolic substance that exists.
Is that why he's bare, veiny and juicy then?
I don't know. I think he's just lean.
He is very lean.
But I think it's also probably partly his muscles because he does have muscly forearms and not massive arms, but nice biceps and triceps.
Yeah, for sure. Well shaped.
And it's probably just genetics with how much the veins stick out as well.
I know,
So it's partly the muscle, partly the body fat, partly the genetics as well.
Sorry, have you managed to walk that line for like looking for your appearance on the podcast by wearing joggers that look like jeans? Because you were saying just before that you try and make yourself look presentable. Is this your way of riding the line so you can be comfy?
This is as close as it gets.
Nice.
No, I do wear jeans sometimes.
Nice.
It's just literally a coincidence. These were just the clothes that I've been wearing today.
These were
Not
just
this
the
t-shirt.
closest looking joggers I had to jeans.
I went to the gym, that's where I saw you, and then came back.
Yeah.
And I wasn't wearing this t-shirt, but I was wearing these joggers, and then I just changed the t-shirt, and then here we are
for
News of the Week.
Nice.
Excellent. So yeah, anyway, Manchester was good, thank you. Tiring, I did a lot of steps. We were walking around the city a lot. We walked all the way down the canal, which turned out to take hours. It was a lot further than it looked on Google Maps. Turned out I've not zoomed in. I'm like, let's walk down the canal. Oh, will you?
Travels long and canals are longer,
miles.
bro.
Got on the tram loads as well to different places, and not a single ticket collector ever came to ask for any money on any of the trams ever.
That's mint.
I was like, all right, this city just doesn't want money.
You just won Manchester.
Sometimes there was at the tram stops a little thing to buy a ticket outside, and we did, but no one came to check. Sometimes we
ask for forgiveness.
we either just jumped on the tram, when it arrived, or we're expecting some. There wasn't one, so we're expecting some. No one ever came. Anyway, stayed at a nice hotel in the Keys section. I ate way too much restaurant food. I
was going to say, what did you eat?
Oh, I felt sick.
What did you eat?
Not crap, but I ate out for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, like hotel breakfast.
Okay.
And I only have eggs on toast with beans, to be honest. I didn't eat like bacon and
Conservative
sausages.
breakfast. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I want 4 eggs. Okay. I want 3 slices of
too
toast.
many eggs.
No, not for me. Baked beans.
Okay.
Loads of protein. I'm going to be doing flipping 30,000 steps. I need to get my protein on.
All 50 grams that you're...
That's what I'm saying. 50 gram in the morning?
Hell yeah.
We're rocking. What did you say you have? A bit of yogurt with like some flounce inside it?
Yog for Will, yeah.
I'm at least trying to build muscle, unlike you over there.
Yeah, fair. I'll give you that. I will give you that.
Then eating out for lunch. And then...
So when you're away, like, 'cause I'm one of those that like saves money where I can nicely, but then when I'm going away somewhere, I have a complete switch in my head, and my reservation for like spending money just goes out the window, and I'm just like, I want the best of everything, and I just go for like the nicest versions of food and the maximum quantity of it.
Yeah.
Spend all my money there, and then come back.
Worry
to life.
about it later.
Not even worry. It's weird because then the switch flips, and I come back to normal life, and I don't want that stuff anymore. I just want to go back to like my normal routine.
Yeah.
Are you like that, or are you still
half and half? I would say I do get whatever I want, but I'm not.
Because I'm talking lobsters and steak. I had a lobster and steak in one meal last time I was in Manchester. I just ordered them both at the same time. Like, that's where I'm at.
Firstly, I respect
holiday.
that.
Yeah.
Firstly, I respect that.
Yeah.
I do get whatever I want, and Beth gets whatever she wants, but we're not that fancy. We don't like Like when we can have anything in the world, usually she wants pizza and usually I agree. How much can you spend on a pizza?
True.
You can't spend more than 15
See,
quid on
I
a
think
pizza.
with age and maturity, I will also stumble upon such an enlightenment. But for the time being, I just get obnoxious in these occasions. And I'm like, I want the best. And then I have it and I'm
understand.
like, was it the best? And then I think pizza. So I'll come back full circle.
I'm
once
also
I
from Rotherham. We don't eat lobster.
educate myself. I don't eat lobster. That's why I want it. That's what I'm
never
saying.
eaten- I also don't like
Who
any
eats
seafood.
lobster?
I don't like any seafood.
Who does eat lobster?
Some of my clients eat lobster.
Like regularly?
Somebody told, yeah, but I've got some fancy clients. One lady told me that when I was going to Manchester, I should visit a restaurant called, I'm going to get it wrong, but something like San Paolo or something. I
Right.
can't remember, some Italian restaurant. They said, she said literally, they do the best ever lobster ravioli.
Oh, wow.
I know, I thought, whoa, that's, because
Specific as well.
when I'm sat at a table, I can't be, this is just me, no offense to anybody, but I can't be picking through carcass. I'm not a vegetarian, but you can't give me a lobster and ask me to break into it while I'm dining.
Oh, see, that's what I do.
I don't eat meat on the bone.
I like that.
I never eat ribs. I'm not eating chicken wings. I'm not eating chicken legs. I'm not like this is not happening. None of this. None of this is happening at all.
Bro, the sincerity in your voice right now.
I just don't do that kind of thing.
I don't do that kind of thing, guys.
It's not happening.
I will leave the restaurant.
I'm just fussy. Nobody should take any of my food sort of opinions on.
I mean,
about
no,
what I
hey,
eat.
the thing is, it's fine, is that you also hate people and you don't hang out with them, so it's
Why do I
fine.
hate people? What do you
That's
mean
fine.
by
If
that?
you were that person and wanted to hang out with people, you'd be annoying. Because you keep to yourself, we appreciate it. It's fine, thanks.
Oh, I'm not sure if that's a compliment or a jab. I'm not
Yeah.
really sure what's happening. Just lift up, you've just tapped my foot there. Just lift up your shoes and socks for the camera.
Oh, wow.
Yes, look at those.
How many cameras can we get in?
Those are some beautiful white shoes, but also, I don't know what's happening with those socks. You've got socks over the joggers.
Yeah, we're really keeping things locked in.
It's like you're a chav that's stolen a bicycle.
Yep.
That's what people do when they ride bikes, when
Yep.
they don't want their joggers to get caught.
But now they're going to know about the bike, so...
Is this new style?
Has there ever been a consistency to me in anything I've ever done, bro?
It's a good question.
what I've worn, no.
I don't know. That's
No.
why I'm asking. I'm not sure.
No.
I'm not a fashionable person.
There are really
anyway.
solid cognitive decisions going on for what's going on. It just gets thrown on. I'm wearing a vest that's tucked in, bro, for Christ's sake.
a white vest tucked in.
Like an Italian, how you doing, capiche? How you doing? I don't know, bro. We don't ask questions.
It just happens.
We buy new white shoes every time the last pair that I've had for 3 months are slightly dirty.
Is that what you do?
No, that's what I've started doing. This is the first time this has happened, but I can see it becoming a trend. Oops.
I've never owned white shoes. I can't say that I've ever owned.
My brother got me a pair of Air Force for my birthday, and it was the first pair of white trainers, and probably only like the fourth pair of trainers I've ever really had. And then for some reason, I've just ended up liking them, and I've gotten some more now.
I like it, but I do understand they must be difficult to keep clean. Do you watch where you put your feet when you're walking?
Not one bit, and that's the issue. That it only pisses my brother off. I'm stig of the dump. I kind of like it. I kind of aim for the puddles. I'm like, we'll just rough
With
it up a
white
bit.
shoes on?
I'll just rough it up around the edges a bit, see if we can make it look a bit scruffy.
Not sure I'd be able to deal with it.
Yeah, it's a bit stressful as well, but what are you going to do?
You stress yourself out with your own walking habits.
Yes.
I'm not sure what's happening in this situation.
Oh, bro, me neither. We don't need to talk about it. Let's hit the news of the week.
News of the week.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I've got, ladies and gentlemen.
I think a lot of yours sounded interesting, so let's hit yours, and that boost your bum one of mine.
Okay,
That's
lovely.
like the one of mine.
Also, excellent news for ladies and gentlemen listening at home, and good for us, is tomorrow we're doing News of the Week again with Dave Pearson.
Many newses.
We've got our first guest.
Wow, and what a guest.
Yeah, and an excellent guy.
Smashing bloke.
We've got our first guest coming on tomorrow, so I'm going to have to figure out how to set up the cameras differently.
You've got some prep to do, sir.
Well, I'll not think about it for now. It stresses me
Yeah,
out
don't think about it now. It's going to be very easy, bro. We just twist that guy, put him over there, and then sort these wires out. Bob's your uncle. All right?
We'll see. We'll see.
Sweet.
But if we don't get through all these news articles, we can pick some up tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure,
As well,
man.
we can pick some up tomorrow. Two of mine are long. The ones about genes and genetics and obesity. But I did want to talk about this. To be honest, I think we'll just start at the top though, do you? And we'll try and just blast through them and we'll see where we get to. First article, this was an article in Red. That's the news publication, entitled Diet and Exercise Mistakes Women Over 40 Often Make. And I do put the links to, I try to do all of them, but it ends up being most of them, to these articles in the description. So if you do want to read them or view them to have a look at what we're talking about for whatever reason, you can. Can I read this article to you then, Will, and then we'll just see what we think?
Sir.
Yeah, I'd like your opinion on these things. Article starts. It's no secret that our bodies need different things as we age. Semi-true, but also debatable. Off to a mediocre start at best. Sentence 1. Sentence 2. In fact, our metabolism starts to slow down after 30 and we can lose up to 5% of our muscle density by 31.
That's a quick decline. 5%?
Could be true, I guess.
Yeah,
Could be
but
true.
that's a specific quick turnaround, isn't it?
Could be true. But there are lots of small tweaks that we can make to help us feel our best, whatever our age. True. Definitely agreed. We spoke to Claire Davis, a celebrity trainer, who revealed the top 5 diet and exercise mistakes that women over 40 often make, in brackets, often to try and maintain a healthy weight. So I think these might be weight management related. Here, Claire shares the 5 most common mistakes lots of us make when it comes to diet and exercise in our 40s. Number 1. Cut food calories dangerously low, but then drink them instead. I also agree that's a bad idea.
I'm probably kind of true, maybe. Maybe not purposefully, but...
Yeah, people are not trying to do the wrong thing. No, people are trying to lose weight quickly.
No.
My program's called the 6th Step to Slim. The 6th Step to Slim is try to avoid liquid calories. It's also got hydration and a couple of other things built into it, but it's about liquids. But the crux of it, the main part of it for weight loss, is try not to drink your calories.
Just dead in it.
Only due to, it's just because it's not as satisfying, because it's not as filling.
Yeah, I mean, well, to put it into context, if I was trying to gain weight, and the times that I
Yes.
have, I literally drink.
That is what people who are trying to gain weight do.
I drink to put on weight because it is dead calories. I can whisk up peanut butter into milk and have Nutella in there with a protein scoop and get that down me and not feel full. So yeah, don't do it if you couldn't.
All right, I'm going to read you what the article says. I agree with some of this, and I don't know, we'll see about if it's all of it. This is a common theme for many midlife women. Their body is no longer playing ball. What they used to do to keep themselves looking and feeling good no longer works. Debatable. So they drastically cut calories via diet fads, that's what we're saying, shakes, pills, and protocols. I call them S diets, do you know?
Why? Oh,
Soup, shake, and supplement diets. Shit
Nice.
diets.
nice.
It's all the S's.
I appreciate that.
So they drastically cut calories via diet fads, shakes, pills, and protocols in the hope that it will get results, and fast. The huge issue with this is that our metabolic rate is already slowing down as we age. It can do, but it doesn't have to.
True.
Your metabolism doesn't have to slow down as you age. It does give the reasons here why. It says we're losing muscle mass and we tend to be more sedentary.
That's the...
You could also not.
Yeah.
You could also not lose muscle mass.
You
or
could
be
also
sedentary.
keep moving.
Yeah, you could also keep moving. Back to the article. When we reduce the calories in our body... let me start again. When we reduce our calories, our body will preserve the energy it's expending. True, but that's only a very minor factor.
Sorry?
When we reduce our calorie intake, it should say,
okay.
our body will preserve the energy it's expending. That's true.
To an extent.
To a small extent, yeah.
What it should say at the end of that.
There is like a BMR reduction. No, they make it seem like a big deal, but it's not. Everybody
That's
makes
what
it
I'm
seem
saying,
like a big deal.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because some people like to hinge their product or sale around it or something, you know. Like,
Yeah, that's exactly right. There's two main reasons that your metabolism slows down while dieting. The first one is that you've actually lost weight in the first place, and lighter people require less food. So being lighter and actually losing weight puts your calorie maintenance level, which also could be known as your metabolism, that kind of means the same thing, down.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is as you actually lose weight, to lose even more weight, you have to kind of eat a bit less sometimes. The second one is people's energy levels are low when dieting, and this reduces people's physical activity levels. So when you're tired, you can't run as far, you can't lift as much. Sometimes people reduce exercise, even without realizing. Sometimes people reduce their physical activity.
Always
Just
without
because they're
realising.
tired. Just because they're tired.
As well, yeah. As well as consciously, always without realising. If you're in a deficit for a while, at least.
Yep, so we get people around both of these things by adjusting people's calorie maintenance levels as they lose weight throughout the process, and also tracking people's step counts, not because I necessarily want them to improve it, but because I don't want them to reduce it. Whatever their step count starts as, that's what the aim is, not to go below this level.
nice.
If you want to boost it, good, that's excellent, you'll burn more
Then it
calories,
stays.
but we're making sure their activity level is not dropping, and try and keep up with your exercise sessions if you do. But to be fair, I don't count for people's exercise calorie burn into the calorie maintenance calculations anyway.
As you shouldn't.
So I account for all these variables, ladies and gentlemen. If you want a program that's smart and actually work, go to slimsociety.co.uk and see who we are and how we can help you. Now back to the article.
Humbling plug, but necessary. People need to know.
No, 1 minute from our sponsor, me.
Yeah. Today, this week's sponsor is myself.
This week's sponsor is slimsociety.co.uk. Thank you, me, for bringing this in.
Thank you, past me, for doing all the work.
So it's saying we're losing muscle mass and we tend to be more sedentary. That's true, but you can also not be.
Yeah, make a choice.
When we reduce our calories, our body will preserve the energy it's expending as it doesn't know when the next energy source is coming. This is a fallacy.
Yeah, fuck off. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't...
Is my immediate response.
This sounds smart and correct, but firstly, it's speaking what's called anthropomorphically, which means giving something human characteristics or thinking sort of decision-making rationale like a human would have.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that.
In,
The body is not expecting
like
anything.
it can do a circumstance, yeah, like let it know, or like it knows what the circumstance is or something.
Yeah, your body's not thinking, oh, there's less calories coming in, so I'm going to store more fat. Does it have some? Do things change in your metabolism alter when you do it and take less calories? Yes, it does in certain ways, but it's not because, like as it says, when we reduce our calories, our body will preserve the energy it's expending as it doesn't know when the next energy source is coming. Your body never
knew that.
Never
before.
knows that.
It never knew that. Yeah,
No, it's never known that.
That's the first problem with the sentence is
So
assuming
it doesn't really make
that could
sense,
ever
does
happen.
it?
No.
So the article literally says after, it's simple evolution. Yeah, it sounds cute to say it like that, but that's not really the way it works.
I think one of the first things I try and teach people when it comes to fat loss is, for the sake of how much bullshit there is out there, you can just always ground yourself in the knowledge that a calorie is a unit of energy and is therefore consistent across whatever it is. So whether you're gaining weight or losing weight, it will happen at the same rate. Whether you're eating chicken or chocolate, the calorie is the same, whatever it is. And as soon as you can root people in that knowledge, they know that when, say, something like that happens, if you're in a calorie deficit, there is nothing that can be done to be storing fat.
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
It's impossible, yeah.
Yeah.
The
And-
fat has to come from somewhere.
And if you're not, and you think you are in a calorie deficit, then you're just fucking something up.
Yeah, if you think you're in a calorie deficit but your weight's not going down over a monthly average, then you're not in a big enough...
Not to your detriment, these things take time.
No, it's
and it
difficult
takes
to
time
do.
to learn, and it's difficult to stick to, but it doesn't change the facts, because it's still going to be... Because it's just numbers. We didn't invent numbers, we just discovered them. A calorie sits as what it is, and you can't change that. Do you know what I mean?
And people often have a misunderstanding. Like, I've got a news article for tomorrow, maybe. I didn't choose to put it into today's...
News of the week.
news articles, but it's another article in, I think, The Guardian. It's by Giles Yeo. Again, we've had an article from him before about
Yeah, I
metabolism.
remember.
I can't remember exactly what the last article was, but he's just written a new book about metabolism and things like this. I can't exactly remember what it is, but maybe it'll come up. And he was saying, but you shouldn't think about calories, and people always say this, because all calories are not the same. Like you're saying, a calorie is a calorie, true, because that's like a calorie is a measurement of energy. That's if you say a calorie is a calorie, that's saying energy is energy. Of course it is.
Yeah.
But is all energy the same? No. People think because they'll hear you say that a calorie is a calorie, and they think that you mean that all food then affects you the same, which is ridiculous. Nobody thinks protein does the same thing as carbs.
And that's why I
one thinks
always
this.
bring it back to saying we're talking in the context of fat specifically and fat loss, as opposed to, say, health or how it's distributed or what it's good for. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because there's more minutiae. Yeah,
Exactly.
Calorie deficit equals fat loss. That's a truth. That's a truth. But all calories, a calorie is a calorie, but all calories are not the same, of course.
Do you find you have to backtrack that with people sometimes? Because obviously that's the most important thing to teach people, but then there are these minutiae. And so do you end up sort of teaching them that almost like in the middle, and then backtracking and being like, but then you have to like basically saying, get this on lockdown, and then once we know that your calories and that is in control, then we can start focusing on the minutiae of the quality of them, because this is more important. And you kind of have to backtrack a little bit sometimes.
Yep, so I've got two answers for that. The first thing I teach people is that the calorie deficit equals the weight loss. but the foods that you eat within the calorie deficit determine how easy it is or not, and some other effects within the weight loss. Like if you have a calorie deficit and it's all junk food, that will equal the same calorie deficit that will equal the same weight loss on an equal calorie deficit as somebody who ate a healthy diet. But the person who eats the healthy diet will feel fuller. They'll have better energy levels. They'll have better health markers due to other things because they'll be getting better vitamins and minerals.
They'll be so much happier.
They'll feel better. They'll have more stable energy levels. Their feelings of well-being will be better.
They will have absorbed nutrients.
So the calorie deficit's one thing that creates the fat loss, which creates the weight loss. But what goes into the calorie deficit, of course, that makes a difference. Just because calories are calories, that doesn't mean that we're pretending that they're all the same. No one thinks carbs and protein do the same thing, or that fat and protein does the same thing, or carbs. No one thinks this. Literally, but people assume when we talk, because I talk about calories, that means he thinks all foods are the same. No, I don't. That makes no sense.
Yeah. You've got to cover your ass and make sure people know what you're talking about, I think.
And again, my program's called 6 Steps to Slim. The first step is calorie management. The second step is movement. The third step is food quality improvement. So I teach people in stages.
And you do these in priorities, more or less.
Pretty much in order, yeah. The first two are priorities.
Yeah.
Sort the food, move more if you can.
Sort the quantity of food. And then quality of food third in your list.
Third, but second nutritionally.
After,
Second nutritionally, third overall. If people can't exercise or don't want to, I don't make them, so they can skip step 2. But that is still second most effective tool.
That gets a tut as well, does it?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
That's the tut.
What? No, why would it get a tut? Sorry, I don't understand.
Because I mean, like you were saying, in older people, they get more sedentary. You could not do that if you find the time.
Yeah,
but I mean, it comes down to a moral, philosophical argument of whether there's whether it's worth going out for a walk and there's enjoyment in that, and whether people like that kind of stuff. But I would always argue that is a better quality of life, and that people should strive for that as well.
Oh no! If somebody does not exercise, they do, and they have the option and can exercise, because what I really meant, the real reason it's optional, my second step to slim. To be honest, all the 5 steps to slim that aren't the first one are optional, because all you really need is a calorie deficit.
Yeah, true.
You don't have to do anything else. So the next 5 steps to slim are completely optional. But what it's there for is some people just want to do nutrition only. They don't want to exercise, and I don't make anybody do anything that they don't definitely have to do. Like if you don't have to do it, I'm not going to force you to. You can try and do it without it if you want to. Let's see how it goes. And then we'll talk about it later. So I don't force people to do things that aren't strictly necessary. And the second thing is I have disabled members who can't exercise.
Oh yeah, obviously that's the excuse. Yeah.
It's not the excuse, it's the reason.
Yeah,
to be politically correct with the language.
Sorry, I was using that as a synonym, meaning the same.
I understand what you mean. I know you're not being offensive in that way. I just thought.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, I have disabled members, literally. Some people can't. Some people don't want to exercise, and that's okay. Usually they come around to it later. After they've lost some weight already and they're feeling better and the exercise doesn't actually feel as difficult or intimidating.
Yeah, because it's where a lot of
they come around to it later.
Momentum is found, I find, with things like that.
Yeah, and sometimes just focusing on one thing's enough for people. Sometimes trying to do the diet and the exercise at once, sometimes that is too much for people. So if we just focus on the most important
right with
thing,
that, actually, yeah.
which is diet, because for my clients, they want weight loss, so diet's the most effective thing. So we focus on that. But that doesn't stop me or teaching people that whether they can do it or not, or want to or not, it's still the second most effective tool. Mm-hmm. We're just talking facts. It's eat less is the best way to get rid of calories. Just don't put them in the first place. The second best way is if you have put them in, or when you do put them in, you can burn some of them off again. But it's way more difficult. So it's a steep drop to second.
It's just putting in a middleman in it.
But it is second.
Yeah.
And then after that, my other 4 steps to slim that come after that are healthy eating, snacking and psychology. The 4th one's called. It's about cravings, binge eating, emotional eating, social eating. A bit about meal frequency, a bit about meal volumes and stuff. It's about loads of different things. Anyway, then it's protein.
Yeah.
Then it's liquid.
Oh, nice.
Then it's liquid management.
I'm glad you've got a protein in there.
Yep, that's step 5. And people can do. Everybody starts on the first step, altering the calorie intake, get the weight loss actually moving.
Try and look at the second.
Then they can decide which order and whether they want to do any of the other 5 steps to slim.
Mm-hmm.
If they listen to these lectures, me explaining what the deal is with protein intake, movement, healthy eating, what you'll have to do, what it'll be like, what the goals would be like, what the changes you'll have to make will be, and then what the benefits of that would be. And then they can decide if they like it or not. And I say, if you don't like those goals and that sounds like awful to you, If you don't want to eat more veg or eat healthier, then skip to the next step. And then I talk to them about snacking and how we can reduce snacks or stress management techniques and binge eating control and emotional eating control. And if they think, oh, then none of that applies to me, all right, skip to the next step. If they want to work on that area, then we insert that into their program. And it's a little bit like a DIY build it yourself program where everybody starts with calorie management of some form, and then you add on which other steps you want in any order you want, really, because they're all good, aren't they?
And that's pretty nice to have it laid out as well in the way that you can just do that, because I guess I kind of try and do that bouncing around with like talking to people one-on-one with sessions. It's a lot more confusing when you're trying to like get someone to understand it when as you were explaining it to them, as opposed to like you can give them a video and say go and watch this and absorb it, and then
in your own time,
that's nice,
at your own pace. And I don't make them listen to or watch any of the extra videos, because again, they don't have to exercise. No one does.
No,
you don't have to exercise. You don't
extra
have to
education if you so wish.
Yeah, if they but I tell them it's all bonus, but it's there for literally the good of their health and results. I tell them that every single extra goal that they add on from one of the other optional sections either makes the fat loss easier, faster, or more sustainable.
That's nice.
Or sometimes all of them.
Give them the incentives to lead them in the direction you want.
Let's talk about exercise. It can make your fat loss journey easier and faster and more sustainable. That's why it's so effective. How can it make it easier? Because if you're burning more calories, you can actually eat more food and still lose the same weight if you want to.
That's interesting. I've never particularly tried using that not even as a tactic, but as in general, just like it will make life easier for you if you do this.
It's just an option, yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
You can make your fat loss faster if you burn calories but don't eat them back.
Yeah.
So you could use it to enhance results. But if you burn the calories and you do eat them back, which you can, I do this for my weight maintenance. I make sure to do 10 to 20,000 steps every single day, and with my exercise at the gym as well, that allows me to eat an extra meal every single day while still staying as lean as I want to be.
Do you think if you ate how you want, and do you think you'd put on weight? Because
Definitely.
Your job isn't necessarily wired to being mobile anymore, is it? You're pretty...
No, I'm less active now than I used to be. I sit down
if you
most of
didn't
the time.
make yourself walk and do your bits and bobs.
Yeah, so I actively put in effort. I boost my metabolism by more than 600 calories per day with protein intake, fiber intake, walking and exercise for metabolic boosting tools. It puts my calorie maintenance up by more than 600 calories per day. I can eat an extra meal every single day than I would be able to otherwise, and still stay as lean as I want to be. That makes it exponentially easier to stay slim.
Baywatch lean, baby.
This is why that exact reason is why I teach people that while movement and exercise is not the best fat loss tool, it's your second best, apart from just controlling the calories, weight maintenance and management tool. For staying slim, exercise is amazing, because the amount of calories you can burn is not loads to get off loads of weight,
but then
it is
once
enough.
You're there,
it is enough to attenuate a bit of overeating.
Hell yeah.
A few snacks here and there, a few
yeah.
drinks, a dessert. You can burn off those calories. Not that bad, not that hard, because it's not that many.
No.
It's not like losing a stone. You have to burn 49,000 calories. That's ridiculous. That's the actual fact of it. But if I eat a dessert and it's 700
someone that at the start.
I teach people these facts.
I usually want to have seen a little bit of success first.
Yeah, well, this is why that comes up on lecture 3, because I'm trying to teach them why it's not that effective to try and burn that many calories on a treadmill.
Sometimes you have to
spit
an example out there, because that is it. That's why you've got to use those examples. This is how much it would take to burn this Mars bar off. Don't bloody eat it. Stop making yourself a middleman that just stores it until then you have to run it off.
Yeah, so it's hard to burn them off.
You just hold it for a bit until you have to put in effort to get rid of it, as opposed to just not eating it. Harder than that, obviously, in practice, but still, that's the reality.
That's the reality, yeah. But 10,000 steps per day on average would burn about the same calories as a Mars bar. So if I do 10,000 steps per day, I can eat a Mars bar every single day and nothing will happen. And people are saying, you eat chocolate all the time and you still stay slim. I'm like, yep. It's not my metabolism by nature, though. It's by nurture. Yeah. It's because I actually work hard to be able to eat more food.
Yeah, it was you that taught me that if we just substitute the word metabolism for how many calories I burn in a day, change the psychology of how you look at it, but there's nothing different in that principle. That's all it is.
It's very close to that. They basically mean the same thing, calorie maintenance level and metabolism for a weight loss and weight management sort of perspective. That's what it is. That's what it is. Anyway, sorry, we're way off track with this, aren't we?
I've got no idea what we even started with.
This article's more boring than talking to you, I'm not going to lie. The next part says, as we age, we become more insulin resistant. Not necessarily.
I don't know.
That's just not necessarily true. It says, as we age, we become more insulin resistant. It says that as an actual, it just says, that's not true.
What does that really mean? I don't know.
Insulin resistant means your body becomes less able to manage, or less efficient, or less good at managing its own insulin.
Okay.
That's not necessarily true.
See, I'm really bad at, like you've got some articles with hormones. I'm flat out of knowledge on that crap. I'm looking forward to getting to them.
Okay,
Things that are internal and they aren't biomechanical, they're not mechanical things.
I understand.
I'm out. I'm checking out of that one.
I understand why you are like that though.
Yeah, I'm a mechanics coach. It makes...
Well, I was going to say it's because you're a practical personal trainer and
Yes.
you worry about the things that can actually affect people and that you can actually control and that other people can control and that you can actually have impacts and effects on to make a difference.
Yeah,
you can't do shit about your hormones.
You're dead right. That's nice. I'll take that.
Honestly,
That voids my illegitimacy.
No, it's not illegitimacy. I consider myself a practical nutritionist. Because
nice.
if you talk to my mentor, Martin McDonald, he can say things about nutrition I don't know what he's talking about. Because he knows so much about every single little enzyme breakdown pathway. And do you know, like the great and powerful Lee Bell?
I was speaking to him today.
He's the same way with training. He'll tell you mTOR pathways and AMPK kinase.
I feel smart in the gym, and then he comes up and we start talking. I'm like,
it's a different thing, though. It's a different thing. This is what I mean. The reason I don't know about mTOR pathways or anything.
He's paper smart for that kind of thing. Yeah.
I don't know about these pathways or enzyme breakdowns or molecular nutrition or training style things because it's not practically applicable to anybody's life. It's background knowledge that's interesting, and people have to understand it so that we understand the way that training and nutrition works and affects us. But for us working with people, it's cute to know, but it never comes up and it doesn't help anyone, does it?
You're dead right.
So
yeah.
I've also never delved that deeply into enzymes and hormones and stuff. And one of my main points throughout all these hormone things is that if you're overly thinking about your hormones, you're thinking about the wrong thing because you can't directly affect them. You can do things which affect the hormones.
But those things are going to be in line with what you should be doing anyway.
Yes, it's basically if you make yourself healthy, your hormones will be healthy. If you are in a healthy position and your hormones aren't healthy, that's a medical issue. That's what you can do. You can't control. There's not like certain foods you can eat really that change your hormones. There's not.
You get there, then it's a medical issue. Then you could perhaps pursue any kind of treatment, that
like hormone replacement therapy, like me.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter what I eat or do. My testicles don't produce testosterone. They just don't. They just don't. This is the way that it is, and there's nothing I can do about that. There's no like testosterone boosters.
No, but that's where you settle for reality and take the necessary steps in it.
Yeah. So anyway, so this says, for me to phrase it in a more simple way, rather than insulin resistant, as we age, our body becomes less able to use its insulin. Why is that necessarily true? It's not. There's no. If you become more overweight over time, or you don't exercise, or you eat too many carbs, or too much food overall, then okay, yeah, you'll become more insulin resistant over time. People on average also do become insulin resistant over time because as they age, they've got more time to gain more weight, they become less sedentary and exercise less, etc. So people's insulin resistance does get worse as you age, but you don't have to. If you stay active and you stay slim and you eat a good protein intake and you eat healthy foods, you won't become more insulin resistant. Anyway, so it says, meaning we are unable to process the sugar in our body as effectively. Not necessarily true.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of the time these kind of things fall back on like average statistics, and they're like, oh look, if you look at the graph, insulin goes down.
Yeah, if you looked at people's ages and insulin resistances,
it's
that
not
would be a correlate.
It's not a biological decline because of age. It's
a correlation, not a causation.
Yes, there you go. It's correlated with being more sedentary, getting fatter, getting weaker, getting lazier, trying to die.
No, I don't agree with that. People are not trying to die, I don't think. But people.
As soon as you sit down, that's it.
It's all right, I'll edit that bit out. I won't really.
They won't know.
No, I won't really.
You do it. You start off.
People's activity levels do go down, their muscle mass does go down, testosterone levels go down and stuff like this, and body fat goes up, and all this makes your insulin resistance worse and stuff like this. Over time on average as people age. But you don't have to. You can stay slim and you can stay fit and you can stay healthy and you can keep your body fat down. And you'll be fine, my dear. Point 2, do we agree or not? A mistake people make is eating big carb heavy meals too late at night. The article says that's number 2.
We disagree.
I disagree. Whether you eat big carb heavy meals late at night, that's not a direct correlate with whether you've gained weight or not.
No.
I eat massive carb meals just before I go to bed all the time.
My time for consuming pizza exclusively is right before bed. I tend to eat pizza until I pass out and fall asleep, so couldn't get any tighter.
Do you ever feel sleepy after you've eaten loads of food and carbs?
Yes.
Yep, same for me. That's called...
Great way to pass out and go to bed.
Yep, I completely agree. That's what
Why
I'm
I
saying.
fucking do it.
That's called postprandial somnolence.
Food coma, yeah.
Food coma. Yep. Carb coma.
Technical term.
That kind of game.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is why not everybody's like this. Some people eat a massive amount of food or a big meal before and they can't sleep.
No.
Sometimes it upsets their stomach. They don't like laying down.
Acid.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. Some people don't sleep well if they're digesting. Okay, people are different. For me, if I eat a massive dinner, I'm going down.
Yeah, me too, bro.
I'm going down. I'll be asleep.
There needs to be a tactical nap time period set aside often.
Yeah, and it's a normal thing. You've got two central sort of style nervous
I was trying to remember the second one. Please educate me again.
It's sympathetic and parasympathetic.
Oh no, we're thinking about the wrong things, but
Fight and flight and rest and digest.
sympathetic,
Parasympathetic.
sympathetic, Jesus.
Which means parallel, kind of like to the
You with
sympathetic
your
one,
words.
because they're directly next to each other, and it's fight and flight and rest and digest. So if you eat loads of food, then you rest and digest. Is what happens.
This one for me, please.
This is why
I ain't fighting or flying.
this is why
rested and
if you
digesting.
are fighting or flying, your
Can we call this?
digestion and sleep is worse. You know, if you're stressed, if you're in fight or flight mode, your digestion suffers. It causes IBS,
makes
stress,
sense.
and so does sleep suffers.
Oh, that makes sense. How things like anxiety can come around to those kind of issues. Yeah.
It's all related.
Can we call this what was it? Can we call this podcast? What were we saying? Rest and digest.
Rest and digest.
That's not a bad name. We're resting and we're digesting information.
Oh, that's cute.
It's cute, right?
That's cute. Maybe we should have a rest and digest. That's what I hope people are doing. Resting
Rest
and
and
digesting.
digest.
Or maybe they're listening to this while they exercise. I don't know. Then you shouldn't be rested.
Yeah, don't
Let's
rest.
go!
Digest.
Let's go!
Exercise, not biscuits,
Keep
not
moving,
digestives.
people. Keep moving.
Moving
people.
on.
Yeah, let me just read this to you. This is a huge one. No, it's not. First sentence wrong. Often we see clients' food diaries and they're eating high GI carbs. If anybody mentions GI, the conversation's going
I'm
on.
a personal trainer. I can tell you what the fuck that is.
It's you got again.
Practical.
That's because it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, this is why I
only
know I
about
don't
stuff
know
that's
about
real,
it.
Will. That's why you don't know
I don't know
this.
about it, but I'm confident in knowing that I don't need to know about
If
it.
you needed to know about it, you would know it.
Which makes me all kinds of stupid.
It stands for glycemic index. And
Okay, now I know, but-
It's the speed.
Still not really.
No, it's the speed that blood sugar raises after you eat certain foods. After you eat foods, how fast does the blood sugar go up? That's its glycemic
Which
index.
that also doesn't mean anything to me.
Doesn't
Even
mean
now I know it. Even now I know it, I don't know what that is.
Okay, well, it's not important. I'll tell you that.
And I genuinely am not joking.
Lower blood sugar levels are correlated with better health over life. If your blood sugar levels get too high and they stay too high, that's type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
So if you've got good blood sugar management and low blood sugar levels, this is generally accepted as a good thing for health and longevity.
Nice.
Okay. What GI is how quick your blood sugar spikes after certain foods. That doesn't make any difference really. What matters is the total amount of sugar that went in, not how fast it went in and out. That doesn't really make any difference. No,
right.
because we're talking a couple of hours difference. Across your entire life, we're talking extreme minutia. What really matters is how much is your blood sugar going up overall, not how quick did it go in and out, how much did it go up overall throughout the entire time. That determines your insulin levels, which is then correlated with that's too high is insulin resistance, that's type 2 diabetes, leading to other issues. So anyway, this is bad news for a few reasons, the flipping article says. Carbs are our primary energy source. They can be, but they need to be front-loaded in the day, so for breakfast and lunch. Carb front-loading, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. If you eat them late at night, the energy doesn't get used up. What does that mean? and this is then more likely to get stored as fat. That's not true. People do think this though, don't they? They think if you eat carbs
Too
at night...
many people think this.
Yeah, they think if you eat carbs at night, then because you're just sitting around and then going to sleep, that the carbs just get stored as body fat. They don't. They get they might do. They get absorbed as carbs get absorbed, and then some of them get changed into triglycerides,
Yes.
which loses you some calories anyway. Then those triglycerides get stored as fat.
Yes.
But why does that make any difference?
Not superseding anything we already knew, not superseding calories as a
No, because
whole.
if you're absorbing all those sugars and calories and stuff, all those carbs at night, but you didn't eat too many calories over the entire day, then there's none even left after you've done all your processes to even turn into fat. So it makes no sense.
Yeah.
So it's about the total amount of all the food that went in, not about what time of day you ate the carbs. That's ridiculous. If you eat carbs at night, you just absorb them and use them tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Maybe less efficiently, like if we're talking top tier athletics, it might not be your best bet but not even because of what it would do, just because it would remove where you could put the calories, say, before a session or something like that. But again, that's nothing to the detriment of eating at night. That's just out of benefits to putting it somewhere else, so.
It doesn't really make any difference.
No.
If you exercise, that does bring caveats because you should have probably some carbs before.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
unless you're like a fat.
If you're an athlete, you might just be like, oh, I probably want my food before my session, so I'll pull it forward in the day. But that's because of the benefit of having it early, not because of the negativity of having it late.
Yeah, correct. And you might want some carbs and protein after your training, for example. As if you exercise.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for a hardcore exercise, it does have different benefits. But for normal people, this makes no difference. Even if you're just a normal gym goer or you do classes or yoga or whatever, none of this makes any difference. Anyway, I'll just read off the next couple of these. Some of these are not bad though. Those were stupid. All that was wrong. Number 3 is doing cardio but no weights is a mistake. That's true.
Yeah,
isn't it? That's fair. Eating too little protein is a mistake. That's true.
Yeah.
High protein diets are good for weight loss and health and weight management and
enjoyability.
Nearly everything, unless you've got some very specific clinical issues.
Which I do know of a few people like that. I know a powerlifter, bless her, who can't digest protein or something like that.
Kidney issues or something.
Yeah, and
that can happen sometimes.
Real shit deal, but whatever.
It's uncommon though.
Still makes
unless
it work.
You've got medical issues.
Yeah.
High protein diets are generally a good idea. And then this last one says, number 5, misaligning your beliefs and self-identity with your goal. And to be honest, I'm just going to skip this because I read it like 3 times and I just didn't really understand
No,
what
that
it was
didn't hit
talking
me
about.
at all. I've no idea what that said.
You won't be able to lose weight, basically, if you are misaligning your beliefs and self-identity with your goal. And it goes on to explain why, and people can just read the article if they want. But to be honest, it's just a lot of words that don't really make any sense or mean anything to me.
No, I'm not there. People can read the article if they want.
What we'll do for news article 2, which is an article in Harper's Bazaar entitled, "It actually doesn't take very long to see muscle gains from strength training."
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, to cut down the length of the podcast a little bit, I'll ask you these questions, and we'll just say what we think. And if I or we feel the necessary, I can read out what their opinion is. But regardless of what they say, we'll just give the right opinion.
Hit me.
So, in your opinion or expertise, William,
you've humbled me.
how long does it take to see improvements in aerobic capacity? So cardio fitness.
Quickly.
How quick do you think? Just
I think almost sessionally.
I would agree.
Yes.
I think after one session, you will be a tiny bit fitter.
Yes.
You will be.
Yes. And there are variables at play that could change the perception of that, but probably recordably, yes.
Yep. If you do, I know this because I used to only run like once a week. And if you run 5K every week, you can take a couple of seconds off your time every week.
For sure.
Even if you just do it once a week.
When I was cycling in this last lockdown, the first ride I did was 6 miles and it killed me and I got off maybe 4 times.
Yeah.
And the 8th ride I did, number 8, was 40 miles and I got off once.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was just 8 rides.
Exponential increase.
It's madness. Yeah.
I always explain to these people, use your words, Connor, sound them out. I always explain this to people, pronunciate, about running. And people, I have a lot of clients who, again, they've started a weight loss journey, they've lost a bit of weight, they've got a couple of stone off, now they don't feel so heavy, then they want to take up a little bit of a jog and start working on that fitness, and I'm saying good. And I explain to them that everybody who doesn't run or do a type of cardio sucks right at the beginning.
Yeah.
If you're not trained for it, like even if you're a great swimmer, you suck at running if you never do it. If you can run, that doesn't mean you can cycle. If you can cycle, that doesn't mean you can box. They're not transferable. No, it's to do with muscular efficiency and movement patterns. It's not that transferable like you'd think it is.
Because even the aerobic capacity will transfer, but you'll get that comfortability will get far superseded by the uncomfortability of the technicalities of something new.
It's muscular efficiency for the movement. That's what it is. That's what people lack. Even when you just start out jogging, your technique's not that great because your body's not used to it.
And you just don't know.
Your muscles are just not used to it.
You don't know what to try to do to make it good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I explain to people that if you've not been running, when you go running, you're going to suck, but it's not because you're unfit. It's just because you haven't been running. You're just not used to it. And you will probably only get 2 or 3 streets down and you'll be absolutely blowing. But I also explain to people that probably every time you go running, even if you only do it once a week, for the first couple of sessions, you'll probably make a 50% increase per time. You will only get 2 or 3 streets down on your first run, but the run after, you'll get 5 streets down. And still, that's not very far, but that's like 50% further. The time after, you'll get 7.5 streets down. And that's It's not that far. You've probably only done a mile or a mile and a bit, but it's 50% further again.
But
Then
you've
you'll
got to
probably
think
get
in percentages
25%
like that, yeah.
and 25%, and you can get up to a 5k run in 5 sessions or 10 sessions, depending.
Couch to 5k.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
easy.
So I agree with you. I think aerobic capacity increase pretty much straight away. How long does it take, next question, to achieve, and it says in brackets, unsustainable
Okay.
weight loss?
How long does it take to achieve
Unsustainable weight loss. This is
Very
literally what the
quickly.
article says. Very quickly, I agree.
what? Very quickly.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
You could get in a sauna. When you get out, you'll be pounds lighter, maybe.
Yes.
Maybe not 10 minutes, but you'd be for pounds, but you'd be slightly lighter.
Yeah, that's a weird question. Why is that even a thing? What's that trying to answer?
Who's
Who's interested in the answer to that question?
I've got some notes from the article written down. Some of them are not correct, so I'll read you out what it says.
What about how long does it take to create sustainable fat loss? Is that not a better question to answer?
That is a better question. That's much harder to answer, though.
Looking weird.
How long does it take to create sustainable weight loss? I can give you an answer, but it's a big average. I would say people who are trying at the weight loss and they're giving it a good shot, if you've got a decent amount of weight to lose and you blast it as hard as you can, the maximum results I ever really see on any program, not even just mine, is about a stone per month.
Yes.
That's about the most you can do.
And that's probably, as a coach, the most you'd want to see as a ceiling.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. If you've got a little bit less weight to lose or you're not blasting it 100%, you might do half a stone per month.
And that'd be awesome.
That's flipping
nice.
great.
That's
like
fucking cool.
It's nearly still £2 per week.
I mean, you're just rocking it. If you do
it's
that.
still
for-
fast.
Yeah.
A quarter of a stone's not bad. That's a steady, more like £1 a week weight loss. It'd be more like a quarter of a stone.
Which is still,
Good weight
less
loss.
than £1 a week fat loss. I'm starting to be like, unless you're like comfortable and you've got the time, or you don't have much to lose in the first place, we can maybe bump this up a bit. But yeah,
Some people, usually people like it to be faster than that. Some people don't. I have clients who take it slow on purpose sometimes, but yeah. And then I recommend, so let's say it takes you half a stone to a stone per month for the person to achieve their weight loss target. Then I recommend that the weight maintenance phase should be roughly the same amount of months as the stones that somebody lost.
before they try to just keep maintaining. Or...
So I have some people come to me and they want to lose 10 stone. After they lose 10 stone, I recommend to them a 10-month specific follow-up period to let habits settle in. Because the more weight somebody loses...
Where they're just trying to eat at maintenance.
Just eating at maintenance, but on purpose. Okay. Not, I'll eat whatever. Oh, no, I'm not checking my weight. It's going to be fine. Yeah. We might even still be calorie counting specifically to a maintenance. Yeah. For them to learn how to actually eat at that maintenance, I recommend the same amount of months as stones that they lost. Because if somebody's only lost 1 to 2 stone, probably not crazy changes they had to make. You probably just swapped a few foods. You
I like that. That's a nice little scheme.
It came down. If people lose 1 stone, sometimes I still give them 2 months. Or I might recommend 3. But then as it gets to 4, 5, 6 stone if they've lost, I'm recommending 5, 6 months.
Yeah.
Somewhere, eat longer if you can, but specific.
Because I'm sure it's
follow up.
Have you been with clients as they've dropped and got to a nice position and then also crept back up and put weight back on again? Has that ever happened with you?
That does happen to some people in the group, yes.
I say that like minimally, like they put maybe like 5, 10 kilos
well, I was just going to clarify,
out of the 20,
because
30 they've lost. But
people go on holidays, people lose focus for a month or 2, but one of the things with my program is people get free access and free follow-up forever after they've achieved
someone's
their goal.
nagging you constantly, you're at least conscious about it.
Well, people get free access and free follow-up, so they know that if the weight starts to come back on, all they've got to do is contact me. Yeah. And I'm not even going to charge them any money to keep using the program or for me to help them.
True.
I will just help them as a thank you for them doing well on the program and trusting me and going through it and doing the damn thing.
And they could
I'll just help them.
Stay on the scroll every day anyway.
Yeah, they can just stay. Yeah, I have a lot of people who they finish their weight loss goal.
And they want to be a part of it.
1 to 2 years ago, 3 years ago for some people.
I mean, a lot of your clientele are
group.
middle-aged women. They want to, at that point, they've had success at something that they want to share with also middle-aged women a lot often, and that's nice for them. There's
nice
a community there. Yeah,
it helps them. It helps me.
They want to come back.
Yeah, it helps me as well.
So what? Yeah.
Because I don't want them to gain the weight back. I want them to stay slim forever. And in 10 years down the line, someone says, Sandra, you've been slim for 10 years. How have you done this?
How's that possible?
She'll say, well, I told you to contact that bald guy from Facebook and YouTube. You know, but you've not done.
You'll be more
John
legitimate then
Six
though,
Steps to
because you'll be even balder and you'll have a bigger beard.
I hope so, because I don't really like shaving my head. I'm probably one of the only people that wants to be bald.
Time for another plug, sponsored by my mother, Nicola Thompson. Go get laser therapy and get your hair removed.
At the beauty clinic. The website is not the beauty clinic, is it? It's changed its name.
It has. Well, I think she's under the laser clinic for that stuff.
Clinic, yeah.
For
Sheffield, yeah. Good beauty clinic though.
You were going to read some of their stuff, or
really
are we
nice
moving
people.
on from that?
Yeah, how long does it take to achieve unsustainable weight loss? We think 10 minutes. You can just lose some water weight.
I reckon
fast.
sprint as long as you can keep sprinting. That's my answer.
Yeah, because you'll sweat some out,
then you'll
lose a bit of
die.
weight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could cut carbs, something stupid. Reading from the article. Extraneous factors preventing weight loss aside, when it comes to weight loss, a calorie deficit still remains king, notes Taylor, a personal trainer quoted. Basically, in order to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week, which Taylor notes is safe, sustainable rate at which you can effectively shed the pounds, maybe depends on who you are, you need to create a 2,000 calorie deficit. That is completely wrong.
What?
That is completely wrong.
This guy's trying to
It's
body
it's
people.
a lady, I will say. It's Taylor's a female, sorry. I've not read out the other point, so you wouldn't know this.
This lady's trying to body people.
It's not true. It's 3,500 calorie deficit per 1 pound.
Oh, did she say? Oh, sorry, I heard that was per day.
No.
I thought you said per day.
No, it says, well, let me read again. Maybe I've got it wrong. Let's clarify. It says basically, in order to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week,
Oh, my
you
bad.
need to create a weekly 2,000 calorie deficit.
Oh, I didn't hear the weekly.
No,
before.
that's not true. 1 pound is a
No, that's not true.
3,500 calorie deficit.
Yeah, and did she say
£2.
1 to 2?
Yeah, 1
How
to
can you
2.
say to lose something to something, you need to do specifically one thing as opposed to this to this?
I'm going to give her one maybe caveat chance to redeem if she's listening.
brains.
Taylor, the owner of Taylor Fitness New York Limited. And we know that she is listening.
Along with the
I'm going to
masses.
give her one chance to get out of this possibly where direct fat loss in terms of calorie deficit doesn't always equal the amount of weight that people lose. Sometimes people lose more weight than the calorie deficit created because you don't only lose fat, you also lose water and bloating. So sometimes if you have a 3,500 per week deficit and it looks like you're going to lose 1 pound per week, sometimes people do lose 1.5 or 2.
Yes.
Because sometimes they're losing water.
But we
and
should
bloating
always
and stuff
assume that
along
they're
with-
talking about fat loss.
It's just wrong, basically. That's wrong
Yeah,
information.
we're really that's giving her an olive branch there. You know, she's wrong.
And then it says, as for the weekly deficit, when this will result in noticeable changes for you, it will depend, as losing 10 pounds will look different on different people. Of course, to reiterate, the weight loss is multifaceted, complicated journey. Taylor believes that a combination of a calorie deficit, strength training, and cardiovascular training will result in the speediest route to get there. When a client is on board with these 3 changes and is willing to adapt, big changes can happen within 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
I don't know what that. Firstly, didn't answer the question. That wasn't anything to do with unsustainable weight loss. She's talking about sustainable weight loss, which is better. She thinks big changes can happen in 3 to 6 months. You can start losing weight sustainably on day 1. Literally, I tell people when they join my program and they create the correct calorie deficit as instructed.
And as for when it's noticeable, like as per what measurement, looking in the mirror might take a minute. Weighing yourself next week, you'll tell.
Yep.
Monitoring calories daily and being just certain that you're in a calorie deficit, you know immediately.
I tell people when they create a calorie deficit starting on my program, it shouldn't take more than 3 days for them to see the first loss.
What, as in weighing themselves?
When weighing in.
Yeah,
When
especially
weighing
at
in.
the
3
start.
days of a decent calorie deficit.
Yeah.
At the start, on the
Yeah.
first day, you're
From
probably
day 1
gonna
to day
see a drop.
3, yeah.
Yeah, probably going to see a drop. Day 1 to day 3, you'll see a drop probably. If it gets to a week and there's no drop, I'm questioning whether the calorie deficit's actually being created.
Do you try and persuade people to get a scale when you first start?
To weigh themselves.
Yeah, so that they can do it daily, as opposed to, I guess, when you were a personal trainer, so it's not just weekly in the gym, where there could be too many variables to keep it
Okay,
true.
good question. To go with your exact wording, you said, do I try and persuade people? Yes.
Yes.
Do I make them? No.
Yes, yeah.
Again, technically, do they have to weigh themselves to lose the weight? Nope. So I don't make them.
Is it helpful?
Do I have a 30-minute speech built into my lectures about why you really should, and if you don't, you're going to regret it? You wish you did do.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I do.
Where could you find such a lecture?
In the 6 Steps to Slim lectures, but you have to join the free trial. Go to slimsociety.co.uk. Reason being, there's only one reason someone wouldn't want to weigh themselves.
Embarrassment or
They're
any
scared of what
kind
it
of
might say.
insecurity. Yeah, exactly.
Or they're scared that the program's not going to work.
Yes, and
They
that.
think if they make the changes, the weight might not go down.
Yeah.
If the weight doesn't go down,
And what's your approach to that? Tough love, or do you pander to people's preferences a little bit?
both.
sometimes?
I don't make them.
Yeah.
But they change. I've never known anybody. I don't make them. Literally, a lady joined the program probably 2 months ago now or something, and she said she doesn't want to weigh herself. She gets too obsessed with it. She takes it way too seriously. If she sees that her weight's gone up in the morning, that will annoy her, and she's overeaten loads of times in the past because it sends her off on a spiral. I'm like, all right then, maybe if that's the case, then we don't have to weigh yourself. But after a month or two, every single person settles down and they actually want to check their weight because they know it's working.
They're like,
They know it's working. They feel slimmer. They feel better. They trust in the process.
And also, it kind of is. It almost feels like admitting defeat at the start if you don't want to see where you're starting, because it's like maybe assuming that you're not going to change.
I need to see where they're starting because I can't work out how fast their metabolism is or the calorie maintenance without knowing
it's
what they're weighing.
tricky, isn't it? Yeah, it is tricky.
I don't need to know exactly what you weigh, but you need to give me a ballpark.
Can we weigh you? And I'll look, and you don't have to if it gets to that point.
That's fair.
I just need to know for like.
I need to know to work out the calorie maintenance levels.
Yeah. It would make life a lot easier. Yeah.
At least ish.
Yeah.
The minimum information I need to know: do you weigh more than 13 stone or not?
Yes.
This is because then if a lady who has no activity level but weighs 13 stone has an average calorie maintenance of 2,000. So that gives me a rough ballpark figure. If you're around 13 stone, I know that we're going to be roughly working on a 2,000 maintenance. If you're above, it's above. If you're below, it's below. So that's where
that's nice.
Start my range out.
Yeah.
Just because it's 2,000 is a round number, nothing to do with 13 stone.
No, it makes sense.
Because 2,000 is the round number.
That's 2,000 is the number that I use for all of my calorie examples and calculations.
Yeah, just because it's basic and it's the number that it says on the side of the cereal box for ladies, isn't it?
True.
So the only reason they wouldn't want to weigh themselves really is if they were scared that it wasn't going to work. But if the program, if you weigh yourself and the weight doesn't go down, I need to know about this because it's my job to fix it. Hiding from problems does not fix them. That's point number one. Point number two is when it does go down, because fat loss always works and it's basic biological science. If it doesn't go down, the calorie deficit wasn't created. So we'll make a few more swaps until it is. No big deal. When it does go down, that is the motivation for the client. No one likes dieting. Not many people like exercising. The only reason we do it, for my clients anyway, is to lose weight, to get the result. Most of my clients are weight loss. If they want to lose weight, we need to check if you're losing weight, because if you're not going to want to, if you don't want to do something, if you can't even tell if it's working, you don't want to do the diet, but you don't even know if it's working, where's your motivation going to be?
This is it. My rule is that all I need is some kind of confirmation weekly that we're moving in the right direction. So if you can send me through your calories and show me that you have recorded everything and I'm taking your word on that and you're only lying to yourself if you've got something wrong. If I can see that and I can see that you're in a calorie deficit, or I can see your weight's in a calorie deficit, or something measurable is there that I know something's happening. That's all I really need for confirmation, to be happy. I don't need to make people do one thing.
Yep, I want to know that what we're doing is working. I want them to know that what we're doing is working. We need some kind of measure of whether we're achieving what we're actually trying to achieve.
Exactly.
Like if you're trying to get stronger, it's good to know if you're getting stronger.
For the sake of
trying to get fitter, you need to know if you're getting fitter.
But also, what was I going to say actually? Oh, that's just gone from my brain. Back to you.
For everything, for motivation, for their own understanding of the process, for everything, for my understanding of the process. So I want them to know. And in weight loss, there's not many good ways of checking whether it's actually working.
Few, and that's it.
Body fat calipers, debatable. Body fat measurements on those scales,
not
rubbish.
Practical. First of all,
rubbish.
Particularly. Every week you're doing that. No, you're not.
Rubbish.
Yeah.
What calipers do you mean?
Yeah.
And you have to. All of my clients are online, so I can't caliper them.
Yeah.
And I also don't. A lot of my clients, they come to me because they don't feel confident about their body. On day one, do you think I'm going to say, take your clothes off? I'm now going to start pulling at your skin and body fat and measuring it with a metal tool.
I've said to a good couple of clients after I've had them for like 2 or 3 years, like, wouldn't it be interesting if we had at the start gotten these photos, or I'd have taken a video of you doing an exercise or something? And I know looking back, you could never start a first session with someone like that. But once you have that rapport, it would be interesting to see. And they all say like, yeah, I wish I could look back and see that, because I would never have let you do it at the time, but it would be interesting.
I encourage people to take photos.
Yeah, for sure. That's a nice one.
They don't have to show me.
No.
It's not for me.
No.
It's for you. You don't even have to look at it. Just take one, just leave it.
Put it in an album.
We'll look at it later.
Forget about it.
3 months, 6 months, a year.
Send it to yourself on like Facebook that you'll never see, and then delete them. And then it's just out there in the zeitgeist. You don't have to worry about it. It's not on your phone even.
Yeah. People can do waist measurements, but photos are subjective. It depends on lighting and clothing and how close you are to the camera and stuff.
Yes.
You know, you can do waist measurements and stuff, but that also depends on exactly where you get the tape measure. And tape measures are not that sensitive to like small changes. If human bodies are not straight up and down, so if you get it a centimeter off, up or down on any part of your body, it will come out bigger or smaller. So that's not the best thing. So the best thing we can do, you can't get proper body fat measurements without a CT scanner or a DEXA.
Yeah. I'd say the best thing you can do is weigh yourself and be conscious of your calories. And then, and I mean, not just for the sake of fat loss, but for knowing.
Do the thing that gets the result and check the result, you mean? Sounds good. Sounds good.
Moving on.
And I like people to check their weight 2 or 3 times a week, not once a week.
Yeah, just,
to get a
it was
better
Chris
average.
Popplewell actually that first, not put me onto the idea of that, but sort of showed me how helpful it was. He was weighing himself every day, and he was noticing that like if he'd have just picked Saturdays to weigh himself, say, which like he might have done in the past, he was generally heavier often on Saturdays, even though he was getting lighter, because it was like after his Friday night and whatnot, and just this, that, and the other. But if you looked at his average throughout the day, throughout the week, every day, and then just found that average, it was weekly going down. And I've really gotten clients to do that since, and it's much more helpful.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. You can never or should never, you can, but you should never compare one weigh-in point to the next weigh-in point.
The next, yeah.
Because it could, hydration levels change, bloating levels change, hormone levels in ladies change, water retention changes, food volume changes, sleep changes it, illness changes it, training changes it.
I had my client Rob this morning, and he'd noticed a little spike in his weight over this last week, and I was saying, well, look, we don't know yet. This could go one way or the other, and I'm not saying that to either pander to you or to say that you've done well. It's just the reality. But one thing we know for certain is that you're 20-something, low 20% body, 20% body fat, say. That means there's another 80% of things that could fluctuate that we're also lumping into the same metric.
Yeah, human body is 60 to 70% water.
Yeah, and we're lumping all that into the same measurement and trying to isolate 20% of it. There's 80% worth of variables that can shift little bits and whatnot. So, I mean, that isn't to say that you can rely on that. And if it's say 3-4 weeks down the line and you haven't lost any weight, then it's like
there's
consistency to it. It's like, no, you're not eating well. Yeah,
not eating low enough calories. To reduce. So you always need to view the average trend, and I get people to, or I like people to, I should say, weigh themselves 2 or 3 times per week, only because it creates an average trend faster. I need about 4 or 5 points on a graph to start getting a decent trend of which way someone's weight's going.
True, that's nice actually.
And if we do it once a week, it's going to take me 4 or 5 weeks to get an average. That's bullshit. I'm not waiting 4 or 5 weeks.
True,
that's way too long.
Or after 2 weeks, you could have
after
6
2
points
weeks,
plotted.
I've got 6 weigh-in points, and now this is giving me a decent average.
And you're there stroking your beard.
And that's when my free trial ends, and people can already see in front of their own faces that it's already working.
That's nice for you.
Yeah. And there's no lag. They don't have to wait weeks to find out whether it's working. We can just see. And I want them to check it a couple of times per week, because they probably will get a couple of weight drops in the first week. And I want them for that motivation as well, to see that it's working and they're doing the right things. And then they think, yes, this is not that bad. The reason I don't get people to do it every day is because that's a bit much, in my opinion. It changes. You can do it every day, and some of my clients do it every day. I tell them it's an option. You can. I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah, because you get people that naturally just are like, I'm
they like it. Some people like it. It does create a better average. It's the most accurate you can do, really. But you can't lose any fat, really, in one day. So any change you're noticing day by day can't be body fat. And your weight does change every single day, and it'll go up, down, up, down, up, down. And you have to not be in the mindset that, like my lady was.
If you're going in with just that curiosity of just, I'm an interested
I'm just going to log it just for the average.
Like, great. Interesting, I'm up today. End of the week, roundabout,
That's
I'm down.
Exactly
Weird.
It. But some people...
Weird, but interesting. I always try and persuade clients to see that and be okay with it, and then look at it and go, see that 80% that can fluctuate, that isn't that 20% we're trying to focus on? That's what I'm talking about. That's what's happened there. You've woke up and you're a kilo heavier. Who cares?
It could be for loads of reasons. Yeah. It's such a tiny amount as well. In terms of body fat, it's a lot, but you'd have to overeat, over maintenance, 7,700 calories to gain 1 kg.
Yeah, and that's why. If you've written your calories down, you can recordably go, weird, I've put on weight over here, but if I look at this, it says that I haven't put on fat. Yeah, it's like, so I've put on weight somewhere else.
Water.
Yes, you have.
Basically what it is. It's
yes,
water or bloating.
Who cares? Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. This is how people can get freedom through education. Yes. They can learn not to be scared of weighing themselves. Yes. They can learn not to be scared of how their own body works. You don't, just learning about how the human body actually works. It really frees up people's minds. And then when they gain a pound, they're not worried. They just know, to gain 1 pound of fat, you have to overeat maintenance by 3,500.
Take 1 second to be like, have I eaten that?
Have I eaten 3,500 calories too many yesterday? And if your maintenance is 2,000, did I eat 5,500 calories? No, I didn't. All right then, it can't be fat. It must be water. Let's continue.
Very strange. The psyche gets in the way, doesn't it? Like, there's a couple clients I know I almost have to say that to weekly, and they will still almost try and argue me and be like, I don't know, I think I did. I'm like, no, you're fine.
Yep.
Where are we at?
Last one. Let's just go over this one quickly, and then we can move on to the hormone stuff if you want.
Please.
Try not to spend too long.
Where are we at time?
1 hour 24. Not the worst. How long does it take to see muscle gains? It says how long does it take to see muscle gains?
See, this is what was interesting, because it says strength training muscle gains, right? Was the head of the article initially? How long in strength training?
How long does it? Oh no, it says it actually doesn't take very long to see muscle gains from strength training.
Which is interesting, because I think the specificity of that question I could fault, but I don't think that's how they're meaning it.
I understand what you mean.
Yeah. I think you get what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Like strength. If you're strength training specifically, longer to see.
You'll see less muscle gains than if you muscle build training.
Than if you, not that they don't by a long yard overlap, but
true.
But there are extremes that you could tailor your training towards. But
how long does it take to see gains in your opinion?
Strength gains. Pretty soon, weekly.
Week on week?
Yeah, week on week, very nicely. Yeah. Noticeable in the mirror muscle gains. I don't like specific numbers, but I'll say like 3 weeks, 3.5.
Really? I was going to say more like 3 to 6 months.
Right. And I was going to say to that.
I'm thinking
again,
about
I guess
visuals
I'm coming from maybe my perspective, which is having started as a small, real skinny kid that had to get bigger. Obviously, I had leanness on my side already, and so is it maybe easier to see. So, but perhaps.
So you're saying every couple of weeks you might notice you made a little gain.
Like I'm just like, oh look, my small little skinny boy bicep, but that's because I'm a small little skinny boy.
That makes sense.
Perhaps if you're coming from a different position, if you're coming from a place of weight loss, you've also got the unveiling effect happening at the same time, and that in itself might take it longer to see.
Yeah, the muscles are covered a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it'd be harder to notice the changes.
Yeah, it could be interesting. Also depends how quickly you just take to exercise. Some people's technical proficiency gets far in the way of their ability to train close enough to failure to get results for the first 6 months, which is whatever it is. So I think it can depend, but I think, I think that skeletal muscle mass that could be recordably, noticeably different 3.5 weeks. Whether the eyes will see that yet because of fat on top of it or perspective issues or whatever, it could be longer. But in terms of the muscle, I think about that long.
Perfect answer. I like that.
Thank you.
I'm going to pause the podcast and go for a pee. Is that okay?
And then
then we'll come back and we'll talk about hormones.
Let me play some sweet jazz and leave it on.
I can leave it on.
Don't leave it on.
If you want.
Don't leave it on.
I can just leave you here with the cameras on your own.
I'll play Flappy Birds.
All right. We are back.
Did you enjoy your week, Connor?
I did, thank you. Sorry, I drank too much coffee before we started. I was feeling a little bit tired, so I had 2 coffees before I started.
Did you think, oh no, I've got a podcast with Will, I'm going to have to wake myself up so that I don't die of tedium?
No, I just
appreciate it.
I like to be enthusiastic for the show.
Bouncy, nice.
Yes. And I was feeling quite tired.
Bounce has been restored.
Because I went on holiday, but like I told you, but it wasn't restful.
No, it's in a busy city. That's brain noise
city
as
breaks
well.
tire me out. Because like I said, big step counts every day, visiting stuff, traveling, trams, trains, into this place, into that place.
Could be a good way to lose weight, just travel. I feel
it's why people are slimmer in bigger cities.
Do you reckon?
No, it's true. Like London, like people
makes
are
sense,
slimmer in London on average. And stuff like that because people stand up more. They even stand up drinking. You stand up on the tube. You walk more. There's less
angrier.
cars.
That burns
There's more.
calories.
Yes, true. People are riled up.
Real angry.
People walk faster because they're busier and bustlier.
Fighting.
That kind of stuff. Look, people are literally slimmer.
Blood boiling. That's thermodynamics at work.
And when you
raising calories.
When you go, it's a real thing.
Yeah, I know.
When you go further up north, like even to like let's say like Glasgow in Scotland, people are
real slow.
People are a little bit, I wasn't going to say that. People are a little bit heavier on average, and it's because things are further apart. It's raining more.
Chairs are deeper.
What does that mean?
Sit. There's lots of sitting going on in Scotland.
Everything's hilly and miles away from everything else in Scotland.
Yeah, sitting on farmland, that's what they do.
So people weigh a bit more.
Where were we?
We were moving on to the hormone section, and I think for sake of time, I did have an article, again from Red publication, saying signs your hormones are making you gain belly fat.
Could just smash through that.
But to be honest, they're kind of stupid. It's just wrong.
Is that not the nature of our podcast?
It's just, well, it is for us, but we're trying to. It's not worth it. I think we'll just skip to the popular article. Because we've not done the debate either.
Oh shit!
We've not done the debate or the.
I didn't think of a debate this week.
The move of the week.
Oh, okay, that's the thing now, is it?
All we've done, well, it can be.
It
might start this week, let's see. But we've also not done move of the week. So I'm just going to skip to the most popular article because this is pretty long, to be honest.
Okay, what we got?
It's pretty long. It was in the BBC News. It was about a lady called Sarah, who used to be a Slum Society member.
Oh yeah, I was interested about this.
Yeah. And it's about genetics and obesity.
Okay.
And stuff like this. I actually messaged Sarah about this. I said, saw you in the BBC, haha. She put, what do you think, question mark. I sent her a reply. She did not reply.
Oh!
To what I thought.
Would that be because of something you said?
I'm always nice, so I guess
But truthful?
I don't know, maybe she just didn't feel the need to reply. Maybe she didn't like what I said. I was definitely truthful.
All feelings, no facts.
I was all facts, not some feelings. Some feelings. I like her.
You have some feelings.
She's definitely a nice lady. I like her. I've worked with her before.
Go on, elaborate.
I've got nothing against her. She's got nothing against me.
Well,
but I don't know if she liked my reply.
Until recently.
Yeah. Article entitled Living with Obesity, the people who are hardwired to store fat.
Nice.
So it's about some people being hardwired to store fat.
No other option.
Which is wrong to start with, to be honest, because everybody's hardwired to store fat. Hardwired, what does that mean? That means that has connotations of being pre-programmed, like you're created to do that. That is what humans are created to store body fat. In fact, all mammals, nearly all animals, even insects and stuff, store fat if they get too many calories. They just store it inside their bodies rather than outside because their adipose tissue is in a different place.
Hang on. Inside the bodies, where do we store it? What do you mean?
Inside and out. Well, all right.
You confused
I
me.
meant inside the shell of the insect because they don't, around the organs. We have that, visceral fat, but we also have outside of the organs and muscles fat.
Like skeletal fat, or whatever it's called.
No, there is fat inside the muscles.
Yeah.
No, it's called subcutaneous fat, which means under the skin fat.
Yeah.
Subcutaneous means. So we have it on the We have it on the outside of the muscles and body. They have it on the inside.
What would happen to something like a tortoise if you got it fat? Or can it not?
Yeah.
But what happens to the shell? I mean, it's inside.
Good question. I'm not sure.
I would be interested to see what would happen. Not to the point that I would experiment on it, I might add.
Good question. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
But that's off the topic.
But all people and mammals are hardwired to store fat. In fact, in the past, with human evolution, the people who stored fat the best and most would have survived better.
Of course.
Throughout human evolution,
like
there's
royalty.
been 5 ice ages.
Yeah.
Yep. A lot of people were born on ice, slip and slid around, and then died on ice. It rained all the time. No one could even tell you were upset about it or crying because it's just raining all the time. You lived outside, you've got a teepee. That's your best thing. That's the best thing you've got. It's been ice ages. People lived outside.
Yeah.
You know, and food's been scarce and there's been famines and crops die.
We're fine.
If you stored fat, you'd survive better due to better insulation, due to body fat levels. And if there's a famine or you can't catch any animals, if you've got body fat, you'll survive off that. The people who've got no body fat will die quicker. So, we're wired for food scarcity as humans because throughout all of human history, except for the last maybe 75 years in the Western world only, food's easy to get. For all the rest of human history, and even in some places in the world now, food's hard to get. So you're supposed to feel like once you've got food, you should eat it all. You're supposed to store it all as body fat in case you can't get any more because it's good for your survival. Nowadays in the Western world, it's bad for survival. So technically all people are hardwired to store fat. It's just in our situation, specifically in the modern world here, it's unhelpful. Well, we don't need it anymore. We kind of do need it in case you miss a meal, but having a lot of body fat is kind of a redundant mechanism where it would have had more advantages in the
Be
past.
a while before that's evolved out of us, though, I reckon.
Yeah, maybe never, I'm not sure.
I would imagine probably
Not
never.
entirely sure. Back to the article. Specialist health professionals say it is time for obesity to be regarded as an illness caused by genetics, biology, and how we live today. That's true. Is it an illness? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the direct definition of an illness is. This lady Sarah actually messaged me once for a quote where she was writing some kind of letter to the government because she's been interviewed, like she's on the BBC now. She's written publications and been involved in stuff to do with obesity before in the past, and she wrote some kind of letter to the government about how obesity should be classed as a disease, and sent me a message asking for a quote on whether I, as a professional nutritionist, thought obesity was a disease or not.
Is that what that conversation was?
No, I'm reading from the BBC now.
No. That you replied to. And...
No, this was ages ago, sorry. This was when she was
on.
my client, which was years ago. A good amount of time ago. And I concluded that obesity was a disease based on the definition. If you read the actual definition of what a disease is in the Oxford Dictionary, you can't deny that every single word that it says directly links to obesity. Whether it's an illness, I'm not sure what the direct definition of an illness is. Do some people get ill through obesity? They do. New research adds to growing scientific opinion that healthy obesity does not exist. And I like that, to be honest. That's brave of them to put that, because a lot of people are like,
yeah, interesting.
Health at any size is like a new trend. Love your body no matter what size you are. And yes, you should always love your body, okay? You shouldn't hate your body. That's not helping to hate your body. But health at every size is not a real thing.
It's that suspension of belief that two things can be true at once, that you can mentally be healthy and be happy with your body, but it doesn't change the physiological facts of the state of direness that you're in. Do you know what I mean?
This has just got one fact here. It says the findings show that people who are significantly overweight have a 66% higher risk of developing chronic kidney disease. Some people can be overweight and they don't get problems. But studies do show, even if you don't have any problems on like tests and stuff like this, and your blood levels are fine and all this kind of stuff, but you're overweight, your risk of heart disease and stuff is still higher. Your risk of kidney stuff, according to this statistic, is still higher.
Just based on the past statistics of people that have died and had all these issues, yeah.
Yep. But health at any size is kind of like a movement that's going around at the minute, and people should be happy, and people shouldn't.
That's what exactly what I said. You can be.
Hopefully, they're happy.
You can have that mental happiness
at any size. I hope if people want to be overweight,
you can be
I don't
mentally
mind.
healthy, but it doesn't change the facts of what health physically is.
Yeah, but having too much body fat doesn't just sit there and do nothing. It's metabolically active tissue. It produces hormones. It changes your hunger levels. It changes your estrogen levels. This has actual, real, undeniable physical effects on the body.
All negative.
Usually, if the body fat gets too high.
Beyond a
certain level.
Extent.
And the level of body fat that different people can handle is different. Some people get unhealthy real fast when they become overweight. Some people can get really overweight and they don't really get that many problems, you know. But anyway, I thought that was nice to put, because that's a brave thing to say.
I like that actually.
At this minute in time. Many people with obesity say not only do they have to live with prejudice and stigma, but they struggle to find treatment. True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overweight people do get prejudice sometimes. They do get stigma. Do they struggle to find treatment? Yeah. They can come see us. If you're listening to this podcast, you know where we are. If you're not a 6 Steps Slim member or a personal training client of William Bartholomew Hukin in Sheffield, then you can be. Literally, you can contact me. We have.
You've just got to make the first step, because we don't know where you are.
Yep, I only help people who ask me to help them. I don't go around ever bugging people about what weight they are or what they eat or what they do.
Don't work, first of all.
No.
First of all, don't work.
Unless they directly ask me. This is about Sarah now. Sarah has lived with obesity her entire adult life. The 39-year-old mum has a body mass index, or BMI, of over 40, which means she is medically classified as having severe obesity and is overweight enough for her health to be at risk. People think, she says now, people think you are unintelligent, that you are lazy, that you eat too much, and that you have done this to yourself, and that it is a choice, she says. I just want to scream and say that none of those things are right. Kind of that's true, but some of those things are right.
So, I mean,
I'm not meaning to call it out,
but
let's listen to them again. People think you are unintelligent, she says.
Misinformed and uneducated in a specific thing, yes.
Well, maybe not. I'm not even going to give you that one, because they could still know about calories but still struggle to control them.
That's
It
true.
doesn't mean you're uninformed.
Yeah.
if somebody thinks you're unintelligent, you want to borrow the
No,
footstool?
no, you're all right.
If
I
if
know where
someone
you stand, what your feelings are on the
if
footstool.
someone thinks you're unintelligent because you're overweight, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, that is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
They're wrong.
Yeah.
If some people think you're lazy because you're overweight, not necessarily true.
Yeah, that always annoys me as well.
Not necessarily true. Not necessarily true at all. The next one says that you eat too much.
Yes.
You eat.
By definition.
If you've got more body fat than you either want or something along these lines, you have to have overeaten calorie maintenance. You have to have eaten too much for that body fat to be created. No human on earth can create body fat from nothing. It's like, it's the energy has to come from somewhere. Things don't just pop in and out of existence in the universe.
Like I said, it's a constant unit of energy.
It's a law of thermodynamics that energy cannot be created or lost. So you can't get the body fat from nowhere and you can't get rid of it just for no reason.
Yes.
It has to come from somewhere and it has to go for
Used
a reason.
For something, translated into something.
Calorie deficit or exercise.
Into kinetic energy.
Calorie burning from BMR, which is calorie deficit basically, or exercise, or both, kind of thing. So you have eaten too much. Is it your fault? Is it because you're unintelligent or lazy that you ate too much? Maybe not. Maybe none of those things. But it's
your responsibility.
It could be, yeah. It's nobody else's responsibility, really. That's one of the things I teach people is that it's their life and it's their health.
Cool, sit there and complain. I don't care. But then you're just sitting there and complaining for the rest of your life. Or change it, because you're the only one that can. And then you're the one changing it.
That's true. No one can change it for you, unfortunately.
And that's why we don't go out looking for clients, because it doesn't work. I don't want to work with those people. Yeah.
I just put out my information, and if people want help, they'll come. And then I will gladly help them.
Yes.
I care about some of my clients' goals more than they care about their goals.
Oh, so much. Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, you're dead right.
I'm not even kidding. And she says, and that it's a choice. It's not necessarily a choice. People do think that, kind of like you've just said, but I know you're oversimplifying it because I know you do empathise, obviously, because you work with overweight people for a living. But people do think if you're overweight, why don't you just lose weight? But that's like saying to a drug addict, why don't you just stop?
Yeah.
Why don't you just stop?
Because I don't like that, because I've got my issues and things that you can just not control immediately.
Yeah, and not like foods like drugs. I didn't mean that, but it's like anything, like saying to somebody who's gambling, why don't you just not gamble? Or somebody who's not nice, why don't you just be nice?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not that easy.
Exactly.
There's a lot that goes into why you're not nice. You can't just start being nice.
Yeah. It's always annoyed me with like some issues that I might have had in the past where people don't respect them or they get angry at you because of the issues you've got, because they can't believe that it's true for you because they don't understand it. And it's annoying. It's like, look, you don't have to be able to understand what it is that I am doing or feeling or whatever to be able to believe that it's affecting me in this way, kind of thing. So I'm quite easy to be able to understand that
makes sense.
When people are like, I just can't lose weight, my brain just won't let me, it doesn't work. I get that. I really do get that from different examples, but I genuinely understand it. So yeah.
That makes perfect sense. The same way as I just don't pick through carcasses. Some things it's just not what you do.
It's true.
I'm only kidding.
Not what you do.
Sarah has spent most of her life trying to control her weight through diet and exercise, and she says her obesity is something she thinks about every single day.
Wow.
Which I know it probably does, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it has impacts on your day-to-day life. Growing up in Jersey in the Channel Islands, Sarah was a normal-sized girl. It says, I think that's an important point. I think this is an important point. She wasn't born overweight, and she wasn't overweight as a child.
And there's articles about the genetic response with obesity.
She didn't used to be overweight.
Interesting.
Listen to the story.
Interesting.
Sorry, I've lost my place. Until the end of primary school, where she began to develop before some of the other girls in her class. This is to do with puberty, not being overweight, and that's not to do with food, so that's a different thing. But by the time she went to an all-girls secondary school, the changes in puberty meant she had started to feel different from many of her friends. That's not to do with anything to do with weight, really. That's just what it's like for some people, I guess. Not that that's not a hard time, it is, but that's not really on the point. In her early teens, she was aware her mum had regularly struggled with her own weight and had tried lots of diets. So as Sarah's weight increased, she tried the same. At age 16, she decided to go on an 800 calorie a day milkshake diet.
Oh no.
Over the summer, before her A-levels, she dropped from a size 14 to a size 10.
And thus it started.
So yes, so maybe she's been dealing with the weight issues from a young age, but in the story, She didn't start overweight. She gained some weight and then she lost it.
Got back to...
It worked. She's lost weight before. Her metabolism's not broken. She's lost weight before successfully. Listen to the story. At that time, it made her feel brilliant, she says. That's nice. But in hindsight, she realizes that was the start of years of yo-yo dieting. Maybe it was, because that's not the best way to go about it, is it? And it's not always easy for people without the correct support or structures to keep the weight off after they've lost it. Sarah was around a size 12 when she started university. Still slim. But when she graduated 3 years later, she had grown to a size 20. The student lifestyle, drinking and eating late, meant she couldn't keep on top of her weight.
The not her metabolism, the not her genetics made her put on weight. As we might have suspected.
The article's about why people are pre-programmed and it's nothing to do with them that they're overweight.
Nothing to do with their biology, but everything to do with their psychology. And that's the difference, isn't it?
That's an interesting point. It's to do with biology and psychology.
Yes. Not nothing, sorry, to do with biology, but everything controllable about the biology. If you are in every way the worst candidate for losing fat, you can still lose fat.
True.
Sarah is not that person.
What
so
do you
she
mean?
sits... She said, if she was some kind of hormonal deficiency or something that put her in a position that meant that she didn't lose fat as well, that would have been the first thing to do with the article, and it wasn't. So she's not that person in the world, and that person can lose fat.
No, wait a second. She is that person though. She's not. No, wait. I'll let you off. Maybe she's not that person because I don't know. It doesn't say anything about this in this article, but the people with the worst metabolisms are ladies with polycystic ovary
That's
syndrome.
what I'm talking about.
That's the slowest. So I don't know if she's got PCOS. It doesn't say anywhere.
Well, it's not saying like that would have been brought up.
She does have genetic differences that make it more difficult for her to lose weight than other people, and it does bring them up.
Is it going to be her height and her...
No.
Okay.
It's actual genes inside you.
I'm interested.
MC4R gene and FTO gene. Actual genes inside make it harder to lose weight.
Now we're getting somewhere.
I'm going to talk to you about all this.
This is interesting.
Don't worry. I'm going to talk to you about all this. All this comes up in my 6 Steps to Slim lectures. Not about FTO gene, not about MC
That seems pretty specific.
or R, but about genetics. Lecture 5 on the 6 Steps to Slim has one slide in it, and it says, your genetics are not your fate. And it says underneath that it is scientifically accepted that obesity is 50% genetic and 50% environment.
I think we discussed that
sort
last
of
time,
thing.
yeah.
It's half and half. Do some people have a harder time losing weight? Yep. Do some people store fat easier? Yep. Do some people have higher hunger levels and lower satiety levels so they can eat forever and they always just want to eat loads? Yep. Do some people hate exercise, even just built into them? Yep. All this kind of stuff. But let's continue. So she does have a hard time losing weight. I'm not denying that. What the point is, though, she's lost weight before. The story continues. It gets even better. She's lost weight before, and it says in the article that what made her a size 20 in the first place was the student lifestyle and drinking and eating late. Probably loads of takeaways.
Mint.
And like just student food and loads of drinking.
Who knew?
And then what's happened is she's been overweight, and it's hard for people to get it under control. She's always been struggling to get that weight down, and it's been yo-yo
Well, if you
dieting.
stacked all that food up that got her there, that's what you've got to do in the opposite direction.
That's true, and that's why it's difficult. That's why it's difficult. It's way easier to consume calories than to burn them. But unlike when she was 16, this time the diets weren't working. That means for whatever reason, a calorie deficit was not created. It was the start of a struggle to regulate her weight. Scientists have found that people's genetic background, means that their weight changes differently even if they eat the same amount of calories. Definitely true. People, if you put everybody on the same calorie deficit, not the same. Even the same calorie deficit, they wouldn't get the same results. But if you put everyone on the same calorie intake, they definitely wouldn't get the same results. Me and you wouldn't get the same results if we ate the same calories. That doesn't make sense.
And we're closer than
Everyone's
a lot of people
different.
might be, yeah.
Next section, entitled Obesity Genes. So this is about now Sarah's actual genetics. That's her story. Always struggled with the weight.
Touching.
Etc. Obesity genes. After university, Sarah started working in the pharmaceutical industry. She was performing well as a salesperson selling a diabetes drug, but she was taken aback after her boss told her when he first met her, he remembers thinking, you better be a bloody good sales rep looking the way that you do when trying to sell a diabetes drug, which frankly, that is offensive.
That is quite offensive. I don't know about that.
Yeah, he should not say that. Sarah now says it should be against the law to make comments about body shape and size. That is not the case.
You also can't make a law telling people what to do.
You can, but it's a bad idea. You can't take away free speech like this. And everyone can't talk about body shape or size, then how am I supposed to help people?
Yes.
How are we supposed to help people?
Yeah.
Should you be an arsehole like that person and say that you better be a flipping good salesperson if you're selling a diabetes drug when you're
Should we leave the universe and
He's an
karma
arsehole.
to sort that arsehole out? Yes.
Oh yeah, he'll get what's coming to him.
That's whatever.
He's
It
an
comes around,
arsehole.
guys. It comes around. Let
That's
him live.
offensive. He shouldn't say that. And it's arguing ad hominem. It's arguing against the person. Sarah's body weight does not directly correlate with her ability as a salesperson.
Not one
No,
bit.
so fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue. By the time she was 30, Sarah had severe obesity and was desperate to do something about it for the sake of her physical and mental health. She embarked on a year-long project with a personal trainer, not me, and completed an Olympic-class triathlon
Jesus, well done.
and lost 8.5 stone.
Very nice.
What I said to Sarah in my
Yeah.
message, I was nice in the message. I'm never offensive. I try, well, people interpret things different ways, but I never try and be
Facts
offensive.
can be offensive, can't they?
I said to her, she said to me, what did you think of the article? I said, 99% of it seems all good and correct. The stuff about genetics is all true. The struggle with your weight loss, I understand. I said, I'm proud of you that in the past you lost 8.5 stone and that proves to you that you can do it again. If you want help, you know where I am. Message me anytime if you want to do it again.
That rile her up.
She didn't say anything. I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
That's all I said, literally, and I was nice. A bit longer, of course, but it says at the end of this article, Sarah is unhappy about her weight and still hopes it gets sorted. So I just sent her a message saying we can sort it. You know you can sort it because you've done it again. You trained for a triathlon and lost 8.5 stone. She must have eaten better and she did a lot of exercise and she lost 8.5 stone, despite the genetics. It's going to tell us about her genetics now. She's had a genetics profile. She's got obesity genetics. She lost 8.5 stone before. You were born with these genetics.
What are these genetics?
Around this time, the time she lost 8.5 stone, she had some test which looked at her genetic makeup. The results found two important things. She possesses a variant of the FTO gene, which is associated with weight gain and increased risk of obesity. True. I'll continue, but I'm going to talk to you about the FTO gene after. She also has a mutation of the MC4 receptor, like I said, MC4R, which causes obesity. Shaw Summers, a consultant surgeon who specialises in weight loss operations, has been treating people with severe obesity for many years. He says people like Sarah who have inherited a set of certain genes are much more likely to develop obesity compared to those who don't. True. But let me tell you to what impact it's actually having. If you have the FTO gene and these mutations in the MC4 receptor, does it increase your chance of being obese and difficulty of losing weight? Definitely. Science actually knows by how much. And I've got studies on this and I'm going to post the links. The FTO gene, on average, did you know that, well, maybe you didn't because we're just talking about this for the first time, but for people at home as well, 50% of everybody in the Western world has the FTO gene.
Hilarious. Okay.
45% quoted, so it's basically 50%.
Yeah.
Has the FTO gene to start with. So this is not just Sarah. This is 50% of everyone
Has one of them.
has the FTO gene in this variation that causes weight gain. And on average, people with the FTO gene weigh 3 kilograms more than people who don't.
Man,
It's only 3 kilograms.
that's it.
It's
Not
half a stone.
8.
It's half a stone.
Yeah.
Continuing. She also has a mutation in the MC4 receptor. What this does is it reduces people's satiety. So their brain doesn't get the correct signals from the food to say that they've eaten enough.
Hunger, yeah.
So they're hungrier on average. It increases hunger and it reduces how full they feel. So they can eat loads more. I've got studies. I've got information.
much?
I'm going to link below. On average, it increases people's BMI by 0.22.
And with Sarah, is there any recording that it was more than that? Like, is there a legitimate argument there, or is that just the same facts for her? Probably.
These are the facts. She's got these genes. True.
They're
it
the
has
facts
an impact
of how
True.
much of an impact they give.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's not harder for her. It is.
Right, yeah.
But it's not like world destroying. It's not unovercomable.
It's not as...
It's not an impassable obstacle.
It's not as... it's as big an obstacle as someone might have that isn't a gene or anything that might just be...
That's not as bad as
something else in
PCOS,
life.
I'll tell you straight.
There you go, this for example, yeah.
It's about the same as having low thyroid.
Yeah.
People who have low thyroid on average weigh about 5 to 10 pounds more than people who don't.
That's...
Again, it's not breaking the bank. It's 5 to 10 pounds.
And again, it makes sense why it's not something I'm too scrubbed up on, because if it's not that practically applicable, then whatever.
And even when you've got these genes, what are you going to do about it?
Still, it doesn't
You're gonna
change the
it?
facts.
No. It might be useful to know as long as it doesn't give you this feeling that, oh, I've got these genes, there's nothing I can do about it. The only reason I'm saying this to people who might have had the genetics tested, and even to Sarah, is I'm trying to give you understanding and motivation and self-belief that you can actually achieve things despite your genetics. She's done it before. She's lost 8.5 flipping stone and she had the same genetics. You were born with them and you weren't always overweight. You've lost weight several times. Does it make it easier for her to gain the weight back due to being able to eat more food? Yes, okay. But it doesn't mean we can't do anything about it. Literally, it doesn't mean we can't do anything about it. If you're somebody that's genetics says you're going to be hungrier than someone else, you need to use more anti-hunger tactics. Then what? You can level the playing field. This is what I do with people with polycystic ovary syndrome. On average, it reduces people's metabolism by 20%.
So what are you going to do?
Boost it by 20% or more.
Mint.
That's what I'm going to do, baby. I'm going to boost that metabolism by 20% or more.
And that worked.
Then now we're back on a level playing field.
Boom.
We're back on a level, even if we don't boost the metabolism by 20%.
You can still just drop everything else you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say somebody's got normal metabolism, they lose £2 per week. Somebody's got 20% metabolic reduction, they lose £1.6 per week.
And then you just do that for longer, or you increase
It'll take 20% longer on the same calorie deficit, but it'll get done.
Or you increase
the job
calorie
will
deficit,
get done.
and then that
We
gets done in
will
the same
fix the
amount of
issue.
time.
We'll fix the issue.
You've got options, yeah.
Yeah. So FDO gene, real. MC4 receptor, real. Struggle for weight loss in Sarah's life, real. Stigma, issues. There's loads of issues. It goes through all this story. She's had all these problems and it's impacting her physically and mentally. It's real, all real. All this is real. But she's lost 8.5 stone before. What did she do? She got a personal trainer and she started doing exercise and she must have eaten differently.
She did everything.
Despite the genetics she did before, you can do it. You can do it. Literally. This is all I'm trying to tell people. That that's why my lecture says your genetics are not your fate. Science says that on average, your genetics determines only like 20% of your total health outcomes. Like for obesity, it's like 50%, but for your total health outcomes, it's like 20%. 80% is environment and action. Your environment's not always your choice.
No, that's fair.
Sometimes you're in an obesogenic environment and you're surrounded by food and people are always giving you sweets and your family are feeders and you've been taught to eat loads and that you can't leave the table or have any dessert until you've eaten all your calories that you've got right now. And that you should always have dessert after every meal. This has been ingrained into you. You need to eat breakfast, and there's billboards everywhere and smells and just eat.
And maybe this
one's
be on like a different life perspective. But I'd still argue a caveat to that is that as soon as you're a functioning cognitive adult, that's your point. That's when you look at these things that you've been taught and kind of assess this is me, it's what I've been brought up with, but now I get to choose my sort of life values and how I want to address things and go through life and whatnot. And that's when you start making your own decisions and whatnot. And you don't have to do what you were just told to do as a kid anymore. And you can educate yourself, and then once you have the education, you can then make the educated decision and decide what it is you want to do with that information between.
I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I agree with you, it can be done.
Yeah.
I don't agree that it's going to be easy necessarily.
I started with a new lady today, and she was saying about the pain of exercising and calorie deficit, how much she hates it. I'm like, yeah, I agree, it's real painful. Is it as painful as you're feeling right now at the start of this journey versus succeeding? That's going to be real nice. And then that's what the pain is worth now. It's substituting it now versus then later, whatever,
Yep. You can take the pain now of a bit of exercise and food control, a little bit of restriction or control on yourself
for the
eat
comfort.
Properly. But later you won't have the pain of heart disease, diabetes, knee issues.
Feeling bad just in your brain as well.
Mentally and physically, because the food affects how you feel mentally. You're exactly right.
As well as just not completing your goals.
There's no easy way out in life. There's which pain do you want? The pain that you choose or the pain that you're given?
Ooh.
That's all it is.
Ooh.
There's no easy ways out.
Well said.
No one gets out of it.
No easy ways out.
Life's a struggle. There's no way out of it. You either struggle on your own volition or you struggle when it's forced on you. And it's not better when it's forced on you. Losing weight's not easier when you've got ill health or mobility issues.
This is well said.
It's easier to do it when you don't need to. When you just could, that's when you should. When you need to, that's a lot harder.
Some Nanny McPhee shit, that.
I don't know what you mean. I've never seen that film.
I don't know Nanny McPhee. When you need me but don't want me, I'll be there. And when you want me but don't need me, I won't.
Oh, I've no idea. I'm sorry. Your quote's wasted
educate
on
yourself,
me,
please, in film.
Your quote's wasted on me, I'm afraid, sir.
Poor.
Shall I continue a bit more?
Yeah, is there more to that?
Yeah, there's fucking loads more.
No,
and I've
then.
even skipped some. I'll just blast through a little bit more quite quickly. Let me just re-find my place. Oh, here we are. Shaw Summers, again, he's or she, I don't know actually, is a surgeon for weight loss. So like a bariatric surgeon, gastric bands and sleeves.
Oh.
Shaw Summers, a consultant surgeon who specialises in weight loss operations, it just says what I've just said, I should have just read it, has specialised in weight loss operations. He has been treating people with severe obesity for many years. He says people like Sarah, who have inherited, I've already read this bit, have inherited a certain set of genes, are much more likely to develop obesity compared to those who don't. This is true. But obesity is not just about genetics, he says. Good. It is about psychology, inequalities, and the food environment that we all live with. True. Historically, he says people with these genetics would have done well in a famine. True, that's what I said earlier. But with today's plentiful, high-calorie food, they will put on weight without strong determination and support. True. Dr. Dennis Ratcliffe, a clinical psychologist who supports patients through bariatric surgery, says people's past experiences can come into play. She says many of the people she sees have experienced trauma, abuse, or neglect, for example, which leads to a dysfunctional relationship with food. I completely agree. A lot of people who have high-level obesity have past trauma in their life and are using it as some kind of coping mechanism. It's a real thing. She says, I think there's something about psychological experiences people have and the relationships they start to form with foods that become almost like a perfect storm. Both the genetic and the psychological components of obesity can be amplified when there is easy access to fatty, sugary laden foods which are available cheaply and conveniently. So true. Skipping forward a little bit. After training for the triathlon and losing 8.5 stone, amazing, Sarah continued to train regularly and eat well, but she noticed gradually that she started to become heavier. Whatever she did, it made no difference. Her calorie intakes started to increase. This happens if you don't manage your calorie intake. As you exercise, you get hungrier. As you lose weight, you get hungrier. People who've lost weight are on average hungrier than people who weigh that weight naturally. You know, if someone goes from 100 kg to 70, they have a slightly slower metabolism and higher hunger levels than somebody who was already 70.
Which makes sense,
always been 70. Yeah, it's a real deal. So Sarah's accidentally started eating more calories even though she's exercising. She might not even know it.
Didn't take after that maintenance period you were talking about earlier.
Sometimes it's called portion distortion. Sometimes you don't even know that you've started eating more. You just, a little bit of this slips in, a little bit of that slips in, sometimes even not noticeable. Whatever she did, it made no difference. Dr. Abd Tarani, hopefully pronounced correctly, a senior lecturer in obesity medicine at the University of Birmingham, says there are a lot of people who are, quote, biologically predisposed to conserve energy. Everyone is, not just some people, which is stored as fat. Some people more than others, true. He explains that signals from the hypothalamus, the part of the brain that controls appetite, bombard the person with feelings of hunger and a desire to eat that are almost impossible to fight. Kind of true. So even if the person successfully loses several stone by dieting, their body remembers its baseline weight and strives to return to it. We spoke about that last time. Kind of true, kind of not true. Your body doesn't want to go back to being BMI.
No, it wants to not be in a deficit there and now.
That was amazing when you said that last week. That was really, really good. This is interesting now. This is a real burner. Studies from GP records in the UK show that annual chance of achieving normal weight in people with morbid obesity is 1 in 700 to 1 in 1,000. There's a 1 in 1,000 chance.
To hear, is it? Bodes well. We're looking at, you know, the film WALL-E?
Yes.
That's where we're headed.
In the future, with those little chairs that move around that people never get out of. As Sarah started to research obesity, she realised that after a lifetime of blaming herself, she understood that it was actually her body working against her. Kind of is, and it's kind of the environment as well, but it's the same for everybody. It's her a tiny bit more than other people, but due to the genetics, but not loads. Many professionals with an understanding of obesity believe there need to be a huge shift within the medical profession and society as a whole in how this condition is viewed. True.
Because that's no more of a... Like, that's with her for life, and we can't change that, and we know that, and that's where a lot of the argument comes from, but it's no different than if someone was lumped in like a desk job and drove and that was it, and their life didn't allow for any extra time to go for a walk or anything. That would be far more detrimental to fat loss than, say, those genetic issues she's got.
You're exactly right.
So, like,
that is unbelievably true.
Everyone can have any excuse that's like, cool, this is the reason why I can't lose weight. That's just hers. It's like, cool. Why have you brought it up? It doesn't mean shit. It doesn't matter. Why are you?
Well, it means 3 kg plus 0.22.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. If she never knew about it, then what would happen? She'd lose weight.
She lost 8.5 stone.
She'd lose 8.5
stone before she knew about this genetic thing.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. It's only useful if this makes you think, if you find out about your genetics, it's only useful if you think, okay, maybe I do have the odds stacked against me. What can I do to make up for that?
Yeah.
This is kind of like me with muscle building, for example.
Exactly.
My muscle building genetics are poor.
What can I do? Yeah.
I have to slog my guts out to build muscle. So I do. So I train way harder than some people. Some people are born more muscly than me, and they train a bit and they get jacked.
That's my brother for you.
I have to slog my guts out, so I do. I make sure my protein intake's on as much as it can be, make sure my calorie intake's good, I make sure I'm well rested, I take rest weeks away from training when appropriate.
The pain of exercise instead of the pain of being small.
I'm prepared, bro. I'm trying to get everything out of it to be the best I can be. And then I'll be the best I am, even despite my poor muscle building genetics, which are definitely real. You know, some people have got it stacked against them in weight loss. Just be the best you can be. Don't let it overcome you and think, oh, there's nothing I can do. No, actually, there's loads you can do, even especially when you've done it before.
Yes, well said.
This is hilarious from Shaw Summer. Skipping forward, he says, the number of people this is the bariatric surgeon, the number of people I've encountered in my 30-year career who've been able to go from morbid obesity to normal weight and sustain it by dieting alone. Well, I don't think I've ever met one. Well, you haven't met me, sir. Because I've got people. Come join the 6 Steps to Slim program.
No surgery.
Sure. Yeah. But this is a bariatric surgeon.
Bariatric, man.
He says it's so hard to do. It is hard to do. I'm not saying it's easy. It is hard to do.
This is it. Like
don't pretend it can't be done.
My client earlier was saying it's hard. Yes, it's hard. We know this going in.
That's why it's great, though.
The one thing we know going in. In fact, literally, she said, this is hard. This really hurts. And I said, yep, that's why it's worth it.
That's why you get benefits
What
from
do you
it.
want? It hurts. Do it.
Yeah. There's a good quote by Tom Hanks. He said, the hard is what makes it great. And if you think about anything in life, that's kind of it. Why
including sex.
What do you mean?
I just had to, bro. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I had to take
Suddenly images are coming to my mind. I understand where you went now with this joke.
Yeah, of course. Comedic value is the reason.
William. We're not a family-friendly show, to be fair.
We knew this.
It says explicit content.
We knew this.
We're labelled as a comedy and health and fitness show.
And there's penis jokes now. We're here. We've devolved.
There's going to be.
They're already here.
There's going to be.
There's Tom Hanks.
We're labelled as explicit content, comedy and health and fitness.
We can
because sometimes me say silly things sometimes.
I don't know what you're referring to.
Neither do I.
It will never once be you, to be fair. It will always be me. But it's a good quote. I like it.
Yeah, he says it's the hard is what makes it great.
The erect is what makes it great. The hard is what makes it great.
Think about why people are impressed by a 6-pack or a Ferrari because it's hard to get them.
This is it.
Or why is it impressive that, I don't know, people can do like amazing skills because it's hard to do that. Sometimes it's the hard of it that makes it impressive. Sometimes, which is interesting to think about. Evidence suggests that people like Sarah, whose bodies are hardwired to put on and retain fat, may put in all the work and still not get the results they badly want. This can be a huge mental strain. You'll have to put in work, but you will get the results. I guarantee.
Plus, that sentence could be so true if you remove, it is equally true if you remove Sarah and the word hardwire. It's still true to just everyone in the world.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And therefore irrelevant.
Yes, it is a little bit harder, most likely for Sarah than for other people.
Yes.
Than for some other people.
Yeah.
It's on the link, but I can't remember. Oh, I've remembered. The percentage of people that have the MC4R gene is 22%. So it's not even like no one. It's not just Sarah. It's not like, oh, she's got the worst genetics.
And what's the obesity? 60%? So
overweight's at like 60%. Obesity's at like 25%.
20, okay.
Something like that, I think.
Yeah, interesting.
I'm not sure exactly, to be honest, but obesity is definitely around a quarter of everyone. Overweight's higher, 40 to 60%. I can't remember. In the UK, something like that. Article continues, flipping forever. Some of it's right, some of it's talking down a little bit. For Sarah, her hopes now lie in medical research into drugs that suppress appetite like Saxenda and semaglutide. I have some clients that are on these as given by the doctors. Appetite reduction things. This is what I mean. If she's got higher hunger levels than other people, You can take anti-hunger things. You can high protein intake, fiber, more walking, better hydration. You can inject semaglutide if you want. Anti-hunger tactics, they're real. You can use them. There's new research into drugs that can help people with these things. It says in here 1 in 4 adults live with obesity. It's one of the most, the Department of Health and Social Care described it as one of the most significant challenges we face today. True. Further down the article, this is the last bit I'll read. It literally says, given that Sarah's weight problems are mainly down to genetics.
Not true.
It's not mainly down to genetics. It's partly down to genetics. It might be maximum 50% down to genetics. It is somewhat down to genetics, but it's also down to environment.
Are you talking like specifically these genetics we've discussed?
That's what it says. It says.
And is that what you're agreeing with, or no?
Other genetics too, because we don't even understand all the genetics. We don't understand all the genetics. There's way more than just this going on.
Yeah.
There's thousands and thousands and thousands of genes, and we don't know what most of them even do.
Yeah.
Sarah might have some genes that we haven't even identified yet, which are anti-obesity genes that it might balance out. I'm just making it up, but you never know.
True.
Just because she's got 2 genes, you've got thousands, if not tens of thousands of genes. It's like, I mean, yeah, okay, she's got these genes that are correlated with being overweight, and she is overweight and struggles with her weight. This is what we're reading. This is what we're reading from the article and understanding from the situation.
You weren't an overweight kid. Have lost weight twice before successfully, and
she just struggled to keep it off.
Yeah.
To be honest, in my message, I've just remembered one of the other things I said to her was, I think it's really amazing that you lost 8.5 stone before doing the triathlon. Next time you try and lose weight, choose a more sustainable method.
Yeah.
She's got a job, she runs a charity, and she's got a 2-year-old child. She's not going to become a triathlete.
No.
This is not sustainable. Last time to lose the weight, she must have eaten better, but she also trained and did triathlons. What gets you to the dance keeps you at the dance. What got her to the weight loss position was the triathlons. She has to keep doing the triathlons.
Sweet, yeah, not going to happen.
If you stop what you're doing, of course,
and at that point in life when she did that, quite a bit younger, without a kid, different job, whatever, that might have even worked as fuel for the flames, like that snowball effect of, I'm running, I need to be good at this, I'm going to eat well too, I'm going to Whereas now, it'll just probably be another thing that'll just be, I've got to go for a run now.
Yeah, she's got a job, she's got a charity, she's got a child, she's got family and friends, I'm sure. She's got heavier BMI now, so it's harder to do running and swimming and biking and all this kind of stuff than it would have been when she was slimmer. But what gets you to the dance keeps you at the dance. If triathlons got her the weight loss, triathlons keep you the weight loss. This is why you have to choose sustainable fat loss methods. I literally said to her, it's great that you did those triathlons and it's amazing. That proves to you that you can lose weight despite your genetics. You've done it before. Next time, just choose a more sustainable method. You just need to choose methods that are actually manageable and can be slotted into your life habitually, so it improves your life rather than puts pressure on it. So you don't have to train for goddamn marathons every week.
Oh, I wish I could clip that and show it clients every week.
to stay slim, you know?
Yeah.
You need to choose methods that you can actually build into your life next time. And then she can lose weight again because she's done it before, but do it in a sustainable way. That's all it is. Just do it in a sustainable way. Sarah hopes that... Sarah does not know how her genetics will impact her 2-year-old daughter, Emily. It says, true, who knows? After her own struggle with obesity, Sarah is hoping for something better for her daughter. And it says that Sarah still wants to lose weight, which is why I sent her the message. I just said, look, I'm here for you. We've got the tools and tactics.
Yeah.
We can do it. You've done it before.
And luckily her daughter's outcome revolves quite heavily around how she raises her, so...
Yeah, and she's mindful, Sarah, and she's a nice person and cares and loves about her daughter, so she's not going to try and put her daughter through the same struggles she's been through. So hopefully across generations we can learn the lessons and she can teach her daughter healthy eating to get into exercise and healthy eating habits early rather than yo-yo dieting and not exercise habits and drinking and eating a load of takeaways at university and stuff, because then that just starts to spiral it down, doesn't it?
Yeah, not what we need.
The article just goes on forever, but it's interesting with genetics.
Yeah,
I only say all this not to be harsh. I'm not trying to be awful. I'm trying to show people that you can succeed despite your genetics.
We know that. We're here for education. No, never for a bad time.
Good. I'm there to build people up. I'm saying this from a place of love and caring. I want them to be inspired by her 8.5 stone weight loss despite the poor genetics, not by, she's got genetics, that's why she's overweight. That's not helping us in the situation. Let's see what she has done and what she can do. She can achieve. She's done it before. She just has to do it again. It's not all a choice, but that part's a choice, isn't it? And people can choose too. You can go to slimsociety.co.uk and contact me for a 2-week free trial.
As opposed to Slimming World every time.
Did you come up with a debate club? If you didn't, it's okay. I'll just ask you one.
I've thought of one as we've been sat here, so we'll use that. Yeah?
Yeah, hit me.
Me first?
Let's move on to debate club. Let me just make a note of the
Debate club. Okay.
stamp.
What's better? I should say.
What's better?
What's better, mate? What's better? 1970s golden era style bodybuilding training or 2020 style bodybuilder training, whatever era we're in now. Chris Bumstead era.
Ooh.
What's better?
Modern.
Why?
Because you said training.
Debate.
Because you said training. And I feel like the golden bodybuilding era, which was what, 70s?
Yes.
People still trained well.
Yeah.
Not that much is actually changed in training. If you watch Pumping Iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think it's free online to watch this documentary. People's techniques and reps and sets and exercises are pretty similar. They do all the pretty similar stuff, but now we've just got a bit more knowledge about volumes and about the techniques and about coaching methods and about what to do and when and why. So I would say modern training techniques are better. Modern nutrition is definitely better. Now modern bodybuilding I don't prefer. If you'd have said what do I prefer, modern bodybuilding versus 70s era, 70s era. Less steroids, better physiques.
I think I agree overall.
But just
everything you
training,
said.
people train better and smarter now. Not everyone, some people are dumb.
Things progress with time.
But people train better and smarter
Every
now.
technology
They eat
has gotten
better
better
and
since
smarter
the 70s. Every bit of knowledge with everything we know.
People take more steroids now. Not cool in my opinion. I don't think that's just my opinion. I think the 70s era bodybuilders look better. Just my opinion. They're not as big, and that's the point of bodybuilding is who's the biggest.
Not as big and slightly softer.
So when you ask me with training, I pick
for training.
I pick modern.
I
If you ask me
agree.
for bodybuilding, I pick old school.
I agree for the same. Yeah, I agree across the board perfectly with you.
Your debate club is dumbbells or barbells.
You didn't say it properly.
Sorry, not debate club. Your what's better, dumbbells or barbells? He's squirming.
You are.
And you decided the rules. You've got to pick one.
I'm uncomfortable.
One's getting banned in your life forever.
That's.
You're only allowed one. You're on a desert island.
I'm barbelling.
You're barbelling.
Yes.
I'm dumbbelling.
Okay, interesting.
I'm dumbbelling. Why are you barbelling?
I'm barbelling because more potential for progressive overload, more susceptibility to progressive overload,
Yep.
less things to worry about, which could also be a negative, could be
Yep.
seen as a negative. But for my sake, as being a strength athlete, first and foremost, that presents as a positive because then more
Yep.
of my energy can be put into strength. And also, the main lifts that I care about are barbell orientated, personally.
Makes sense.
As for training, I think there are benefits to both. One of the obvious ones that I think you would make for dumbbell training is that it is inherently mechanically weaker and therefore has less stress on the joints, less mechanical load.
That's a good point.
Can be used for the same hypertrophy benefits. So, but then also it's perhaps easier to isolate a muscle with a dumbbell or something, or at least mentally or something.
Could be.
Maybe.
Yeah, I would give you that point as well. All those points sounded fair. I can see why you'd pick barbell.
What's better for you?
Dumbbells. I would say safer overall when training alone and stuff like this. I would say
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I'm always thinking in terms of client perspectives and me working with people, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking from that perspective. That's my life.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking a bit safer overall. Like if someone's benching alone, you can get stuck. If you're squatting alone, you can get stuck. If you're dumbbells alone, you'll be fine. I'm thinking more.
See, I teach people how to bail.
Yeah, that's fair too. That's a fair point too. You do train strength athletes and stuff, and I don't.
Yeah.
I would say more variable. Like you can adjust the angles of dumbbells better to fit your joints and posture.
Interesting. True.
You can do like your dumbbells wider or narrower, and you can change your shoulder press position if you've got aches and pains and stuff. Works each side separately, so you'll create possibly a slightly more balanced physique. Again, debatable over time, but slightly more balanced physique, I would say.
I think that's definitely arguable. Yeah, I know that I've evened out discrepancies in strength, if not aesthetics, but that's only because I haven't really looked at the aesthetics to figure it out. But I know in strength, where my left arm used to and lock out last on bench, it's pretty similar now. And thinking about it, I can think the main reasons I would choose barbell is because there's not much legs you can do lower body with dumbbells. And
It is a bigger limiting factor, you're exactly right.
yeah, and I like a squat, so that would be that.
Yeah,
for
and
me.
for me, I'm not going for maximum leg power, and
No,
neither are any of my clients really. Dumbbell split squats with 20s, that'll murder anyone with 20 kg dumbbells in each hand. That's enough for any of my clients, for any of the goals for the rest of their entire life.
I miss split squats.
So I also agree dumbbells and barbells are both great. They both have benefits. They have slightly different benefits as we've outlined our preferences. They have minorly different benefits, but you should definitely do both. I do both. All my clients do both when they exercise if they've got the options.
And so as is usually the theme in What's Better, both for different reasons.
Both, but we have to pick one just for the interest of the situation.
Barbell, dumbbell, golden.
Do you want to do move of the week, or do you want to save that for tomorrow's episode?
We'll save that actually, because Dave will appreciate that.
Dave will appreciate
That's a mechanics question.
Yeah, you said it's about the exercise split squats. I love this. We can go back and forth about split
We do
squats,
like this,
etc.
yeah.
Dave's more on the personal training side than the nutrition side of things, leaning.
Yes, but Dave does bridge the gap very nicely.
Oh, I'm not saying he's not trained in every
I know,
area,
but more
of
so
course.
than he's got more so than I do knowledge in the nutrition stuff. I'd say. He's also interested in like microbiome type stuff and general more nitty gritty bits and bobs.
I'll go microbiome all day.
I know you will.
I've got a full podcast already on Spotify and iTunes about microbiome.
God damn
It's called
right
4.5 Stone and the Microbiome with one of my clients, Tracy Viner.
There we go.
She loses 4.5 stone and we talk about
people
how
know?
and that kind of stuff. And then we chat about microbiome because she's really interested and intelligent on
Another
nutrition
guest.
as well.
Yeah. But
do
yes,
you
that'll
think?
be for Dave for tomorrow then.
Yeah.
Wicked.
All right, it's been a long show today.
What are we on?
It's been a long show.
2 hours
before
and 3 minutes, I'm guessing.
no longer. We did 1 hour and 25 or something before I paused it, and then 52 there. So that's
Maths.
2 hours 15,
Yeah. 30.
something like
Wow.
this. It doesn't actually tell me how long
Oh
we've
my
been on it,
God.
just one number. So I'm not entirely sure. It might be our longest podcast ever.
Quality content.
News of the week, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for coming. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, and you, and everyone
Thank
else.
you to the listeners. Thank you to people watching. Leave on comments, leave on questions, contact us if you want help. Give us a like or a thumbs up, subscribe. We're coming back twice this week as we've got a guest on. Sometimes we'll be here once, sometimes we'll be here twice if we've got guests.
Either way, we'll be here.
We'll be here. Thank you so much.
Take care.
We'll
See you
speak
next
to you and we'll
time.
see you again soon.